Hello, everybody, and welcome to BPL's Rock Rumble once again. I am here with Willtron, and we are fresh out of our Swiss stage, and now we are here with the 16-team single elimination bracket. And Willotron, we have a very exciting couple of days here ahead of us, because not only do we get to watch these amazing teams play in single elimination, but we also get to see the preview of our most recent new map type and new map in general.
Yeah, I got to cast Clash on a couple of occasions yesterday, and it was, as the color caster, interesting because there is very little downtime. I think as teams start to get familiar with it, they're going to give themselves a little bit more breathing room, and hopefully my play-by-play co-casters a little bit of breathing room too. But it's definitely been the case that Clash is, I think, the least intuitive map that's been released for some time for a lot of players coming into this. And it's been interesting to see how they've tried to approach it and kind of how it's been playing out so far. Speaking of the bracket, we can see the standings that came in from yesterday. I think that when we're in these kind of like 3-round Swiss stages, it can be difficult to get a good read on who's going to end up where when the standings come through because, you know, there wasn't a huge amount of competition that was able to be played out. But nevertheless, we can see that there are definitely some teams that have come out ahead of the others. High Five didn't drop a single map yesterday, and that is certainly a way to kick off the beginning of the playoffs bracket.
I mean, 100%. You kind of alluded to the point yourself. Three matches is not enough of a sample size to determine, hey, is this the best team? Is this the worst team? Obviously, being 3-0 and 0-3 does have its, it does have its standards. You do think like, okay, we imagine that High Five's going to come in and do really well. But, you never know in this situation, especially the fact that being on the new patch, people are still trying a lot of different things. So I'm a little excited to see what teams decide to bring out here, especially when we get over to Clash. But of course, looking at those standings, we should also look at our 16-team bracket here in front of us. Remember, single elimination. So once you are done, you are done. And just looking at this, it is just exciting seeing this many teams and knowing, but by the time we are done here today, we're going to be down to just 4 teams.
Yeah, which, I mean, like you said, single elim, once you're done, you're done. It puts the pressure on right out the gate. Fortunately, we're not in just a first to 2 situation like we were in the Swiss stage. We are going to first to 3 straight away, so it's not going to be really quick for some of these teams that maybe only get to play a couple of maps in the playoffs before they're finished, but nevertheless, you do have to be taking it seriously straight away if you want to be in contention to make it towards that semi-finals and onwards. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself caught out straight to begin with. I think looking at our match that we're going to have today with Starlighters versus Cookiezis, it's going to be... I mean, I think these are the 2 teams that maybe the standings kind of lie a little bit. Starlighters had a slightly easier strength of schedule. Cookiezis went up against the 2nd and 4th placement in the overall standings by the end of that. That's a really difficult strength of schedule to go into for your first day, and it's not surprising to drop 2 matches against like the teams that are maybe in contention for being in that top 3 slot going into tomorrow. For Starlighters, though, they are 2-1 up right now in terms of their overall standings, and that's going to give you the confidence boost that you need going into today to properly go about this. Like, yeah, we want to win. We want to be going all the way to the semifinals. We don't want to be going out early, and this is the first hurdle, right? Proving that you're better than kind of like those mid-table teams, those mid-standings of like, yeah, we deserve to be in the top half. We are going to make it through. Because like you say, by the end of this first round, half these teams are culled. We're going from 16 to 8 in 2 hours time. It's really not long before these teams have to make or break.
No, not at all. It's kind of what you said. These teams that, despite going through these first 3 matches, I think this first round is the true limit test to kind of decide for, especially these top 8 teams that are the higher seeds, did we get here for a reason? Is it justified that we have these seeds? And does it make sense that it really shows our strengths and why we managed to get as high as we did? So I'm pretty excited to see that. But as you kind of alluded to, we do have a whole weekend here in front of us, including a couple matches after this. And of course, including a second stream going on, as we'll kind of jump to our schedule here momentarily to kind of show you guys what's going on here today, as we can display right now that we have 2 different matches going on right now. Obviously, Starlighters Streams and Cookies Tablet happening over here, but on BPL 2 we have I Have Raygun and Cookiezi playing right now, so make sure to kind of pull that up on the side as well. Both of them should definitely be interesting. Get yourself a little bit of a double dose of Clash, as I mean, I'm just excited to see as much Clash as possible, quite honestly.
Starlighters versus Cookies, we can see their rosters coming up now, and in the pre-show yesterday we were talking a lot about some of the star power that was on Starlighters in particular. Luau, Didn't You See Me, Drayton, Gag. I believe Gag actually going away from a more familiar role over to now flex support, I believe we've been seeing from them more recently, so an interesting start for Starlighters, and I do think having that element of, you know, having players who are a little bit more affirmed is perhaps going to give them the advantage, right? Maybe they are the favorite going into this, as the standings would perhaps predict, but like we went over, 3 rounds of Swiss isn't a good measure for how strong are these teams actually, and for Cookiezis, if they're able to take down what had previously been seen as the star-powered team, comparatively, that puts you in really good standing for other teams to go, hey, maybe, you know, maybe we didn't take this seriously, maybe we should have been keeping more of an eye on this roster. Starlighters, I mean, it's the easy pick, I think, for now, but Cookiezis I'm kind of rooting for. You've had the harder strength of schedule, now you've got to prove that you can stay in the fight.
I mean, yeah, 100%. That is something that they kind of have to show off a little bit as well, because, you know, even if you still lost 2, it is the fact that you won 1. You have proven the fact that you can come away with a win. You just be able to translate that into a team that is a little further up the card. And at the very least, Cookies, got to say, has experience facing the quote-unquote tougher teams. So going into this, they should have some idea of what to expect out of Starlighters. And I'm just really excited to see what they want to try to do here, honestly, because again, we are at a point in the meta where, you know, Venture coming in, things have shaken up a very good amount. So I think these teams could run, I won't say anything they want to play, but there's honestly a large variety.
Yeah, we actually saw a lot of teams kind of shying away from Venture in terms of trying to make that coordinated play work out, which is, I think, what a lot of people were predicting for them. Going into more of a, like, coordinated meta situation is, how do you slot Venture into a composition? But at the same time, when you've got the character who can just one-combo everyone, it's kind of like, if you could just play them really well, yeah, go for it, right? Play them and then just have your player kind of control the lobby. If you're able to get away with it, then get away with it. I feel like we've also been seeing a lot of Orisa still, just in general, you know, is able to reliably sustain through everything, able to bully pretty much every other tank still. Starting on Lijiang Tower, I don't think either of these heroes are going to be struggling. Neither Venture nor Orisa are going to be in a bad spot on this map in particular. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of the same in terms of the Lucio Kiriko backline as well. For me, it's the slotting of what's that other DPS player going to be playing, right? What kind of composition you're going to be rounding out with. Sojourn and Tracer have both been so consistently good for so long, but I feel like a lot of the players who've been playing them would also want to be on the Venture. So we've been seeing teams kind of messing around, trying to figure things out, a little bit of Cassidy coming back into play. I don't know, it's kind of, like you say, a little bit open, a little bit up in the air, but there are still those reliable picks that people are defaulting back to at the moment and going, well, if all else fails, we'll just play Orisa, and we'll just play Sojourn, and we'll just shoot them in the head and live forever, and easy game, easy life.
Hello there.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what happened when we had the mid-season patch come through, and while there was quite a lot of changes, you saw people still sticking around the Ramatra, around the Orisa, because that is what we know, that is what we're good at, that's what we have practiced for the last couple of months. So going into this, not a whole lot different, as it's looking like just the one difference is going to be the Sojourn and the Jinxed. Hold up, wait a minute.
I mean, Torb, yeah.
Right.
No, I'm down for it. I'm down with the Torb. Torb Venture, just live forever. I can see it working.
I mean, we'll give it one shot. We'll see how it goes. Right now, just got to be careful, as right now, Stratocaster kind of just sitting, waiting to move somebody off the ledge, as Cookie's holding onto the point for now. As Starlighters is going to make a big rotation around to the white room for the time being. And they're just trying to buy as much space as they can, as the point is going to unlock, as Kernmaster already taking quite a bit of damage, but Kumko actually going to be the first one to go down, losing the Venture almost immediately, and now it's down to just Jinx on the Torbjorn to deliver some damage, but just like that, point has unlocked. Melody trying to get out with the help of that cleanse, unfortunately won't be able to do so, as Cookie's tablet just going to be forced out of there. Starlighters finding a bit more success running the Tracer and the Sojourn instead.
Yeah, when you're able to just take advantage of that point control that you've already got, it's easy to play around the angles that you have. Luau on the Tracer as well, compared to Jinx on the Torbjorn, you've got the opportunity to just be pressuring angles that Cookiezis aren't as easily able to take control of. Nevertheless, playing back towards White Room again, if they can try and consolidate the angles that Starlighters are able to play around, they're going to be able to try and find some kind of value coming in. It will just be making sure that you force out Luau, you don't get caught up by Didn't You See Me, and you'll be okay eventually.
Yeah, one thing to take care of Luau already coming up to that pulse bomb. Literally gonna have it, might not need it though. Just deleting Didn't You See Me right there. Now coming through, pulse bomb comes online, managed to get rid of Jinx as well. Doing a heck of a lot for their team with Melody dropping. You will see the reset as, hey, Stratocaster does get moved off the edge. You do get that one, and hey, double down, ISS does get to stay alive, so potentially a quick recovery for Cookie's tablet.
And it means they're going to be equal on beat charge as well. Stratocaster actually now lagging behind just by a couple of percentage points, but it means that even though Cookiezis have been struggling so far, they've got their support up for this fight.
Yep, right now Sarah's are coming online, pincering Istis, unfortunately, and now looking to finish off the rest of them right now, but Melody bringing it back for Cookie's tablet. Right now, already having two, still has the Terror Surge online, but needs to find more success. They have to, need to be able to find a third, pulling them back in, gonna be able to get rid of Didn't You See Me, just two remaining. Melody bringing this back for this team, make it a fourth, and now able to make their way back to the point. Luau forced to eventually use the recall, and Nice Spear as well. Melody on fire right now, bringing the team back into this one almost single-handedly, as eventually Luau taking care of Melody, put on a clinic there.
But Starlight is able to push it 96% off the back of just how long it took for Cookiezis to be able to close out the fight. Sure, you can rely on Melody to try and do everything for the team if you really want to, but it took just so long to make it happen, and it was costly in terms of ultimates as well. Only going to be the Tectonic Shock and the Molten Core available, with Starlight just opening with a beat.
Yep, coming in with the aggression as well, trying to find something with it. Here comes the overclock from Didn't You See Me. Hoping to find something, as right now, Jinx using their own ult does manage to find Kiao right out the gate as well. But Didn't You See Me still on the Kings right now. But here comes the aggression from Ishta, eventually able to boot them around, go over to the point, taken out. And now both teams kind of draining some of their bank for that now. So the closest ult really happens to be both of the Terracers at Jinx. Just gonna go match the Sojourn now.
Yeah, maybe Starlight's over-investing a little bit, but they've got the time to work with in terms of they only need to win one more fight, and every ultimate that they fought out of Cookies is one less that they have on that defensive position. Nevertheless, they have to be very careful about how they approach these next attacks. They probably only get 2 good fights in now, and Melody already coming back up to a Terror Surge. You can't afford to lose Luau here.
No, that was literally within 5 or 10 health right there. So now Melody gonna have their Terror Surge online. Right behind, though, Dr. Jargo, hoping to find something as the first one comes down. Not going to find anything. Colas is going to come online. A whole lot of chaos going down right now. The beat coming online. Barely going to peek by Melody and Pumpko as here we go in with the Terror Surge, pulling them back. At the very least, going to buy them a lot of space, but unfortunately, Pumpko getting brought down. And with that, the rest of Cookiezi's tablet going to fall as well. And with 96% already on the marker, someone getting the retouch here, going to be next to impossible.
Aestes uses the sound barrier as well, but I don't think it caught on to anyone. Unlucky, Kernmaster just trying to get a nice little touch in, but the boop is there. Never mind, Melody's back on the Winston now, able to just try and keep this going, but with Kernmaster dead, there's no Kitsune Rush. Maybe they can't turn this around.
I mean, you still do eventually get rid of Didn't You See Me, but at the same time, it is just now down to the stall, as the last person to touch is going to end up being Kernmaster, who is unfortunately not going to make it back in time. I was a little worried at first that Starlighters were just going to be dominating that, but Cookiezi's tablet just honestly did prove that they do have a dog in this fight. I just wish this next round coming up, they actually start with this composition and not with the, with the Torbjorn.
I think the Torb is okay if you're able to, like, not have to worry about angles, but when Lua's on the Tracer, when you're not taking that Venture Mirror as well, it's like, it's just a little bit more difficult for you really being able to find any kind of value. If they were able to get onto the point first and just bunker down with an Orisa Venture Torbjorn, maybe you can make something work, but when you're the ones who have to recontest with a Torbjorn into a Tracer, it's just so difficult to find any value at all. Lua's finding lots of value with the chat, though. Look at them all yap.
Look at them go. But either way, Luau back over on the Tracer this time. Cookies' tablet going to be holding on to that Sojourn and the Venture as well, as both teams getting ready to transition over to the point. Dr. Jargo already on, as is the rest of Starlighters, but Strato already getting caught out, taken care of by Jinx. Setting themselves up very nicely, potentially take this first point as the point going to unlock here in a couple of minutes, as Luau going to take their time, kind of going around, taking the flank angle, hoping to catch one of the supports out. Doing a good job of doing so. Does manage to help get rid of Jinx, trying to keep their team alive. Unfortunately, damage has already been done as Pomco gets a 3k for themselves. Cookies' tablet going to be starting out with the point this time around, and the support ultimates, honestly, already 70%. That's fantastic.
Yeah, nice little early pick onto Stratocaster means that the Lucio's not there to try and rotate Starlighters around the point anymore. Usually once you play onto the objective first, you're then trying to play around the sides or aggress in, but when you can't do that with your Lucio, you're just gonna have to sit there and wait for Cookiezis to engage onto you. Kia is 80% to the Coalescence, so they could ult here if they wanted, but it'll be matched by Kernmasters.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, they're going to have it at about the same time, but Jinx already down. They might hold on to it right now. 99% does have it ready to go, and it's going to pull the trigger. A little risky as the Coalescence is going to be sent back by Kia. Hoping to find something is right now. Just hoping to stabilize a little bit with Pumpko already down. I think we have entered stall territory. Istis trying to hold on to that beat the best that they can. Melody does manage to take one down with them. Unfortunately, it really is just the game of the stall, trying to come on one at a time, as this is going to be the last person to be able to touch for this team. But unfortunately, going to die on the point while it has already gone back over to Starlighters. And Starlighters don't end up using a whole lot for that, so they're going to have 4 ultimates going into this next fight. They really have to pick the litter of what they want to try to use.
Well, both teams showing an awful lot of ult discipline there is really good standings. Cookiezis know that they've got the advantage at the moment, and Starlighters don't want to hand it over by over-investing in that fight. Now as Cookiezis go quick, they can pull the ultimates as they want to recontest.
Yeah, 100 as well. Pulse Bomb going to come online. Pumpko going to be caught. Unfortunately, they might spell the quick end to this fight, and it 100% will. Starlighters, they just decided to use one, clean up the fight very quickly. I mean, that was just textbook, honestly.
Yeah, nice and clean. The only disadvantage of doing it that quickly is still you're not actually built up to the same percentage on the point
Yeah.
the Cookiezis had, only just reaching it now. But nevertheless, if you're doing it for just one pulse bomb, you know, you take a free 20% here or there.
Ooh.
We're still in that same position though. Now Cookiezis have the ult advantage. They get to recontest with it.
Yeah, waiting to go in with the Terror Surge right now. A nice spear back on the Didn't You See Me right now. Venture using their own ultimate as well, trying to find something. A whole lot of damage coming out, but the beat's being used just to make sure everyone stays in. Right now, just trying to stay alive. Brought into this Terror Surge as the Coalescence is going to come online. Kia eventually going to bring it back. Kernmaster going to get speared out of there, but Pumpko is back on the scene, already finding 2. The rest of Starlighters going to be shut down as eventually Cookies' tablet going to be able to take back the point. Going to invest quite a bit, but honestly, a lot of discipline from Jinx to be able to hold on to their own overclock. So right now, nothing to really match that from Starlighters.
No, nothing at all from Starlighters. Kia used Coalescence as well, and Didn't You See Me's overclock didn't really find a huge amount of value as Pomku just able to rip through all of Starlighters there on Venture. It feels like when this Venture is just left uncontested, they are able to find an immense amount of consistent value, and it's something that I think Starlighters are struggling now that Cookiezi are starting to play around the advantage they had at the beginning of this round.
Jinx kind of catching Lua out there. Eventually should get cooked away. Doesn't manage to stay alive as Istis is going to get knocked off the edge now. Eventually this fight going to go back the way of Starlighters as right now it is just down to the stall of Melody, who's managing to buy them to about, I imagine, about 88%, maybe 89%. But at the end of the day, this should realistically come down to this last fight. Unfortunately for Cookies' tablet, they do not have a lot to work with.
No, Kernmaster's Coalescence and Istis beat, they have to farm them, but they're not giving themselves enough time to do so if they play this slow. It's last fight territory comfortably for both teams, but Dr. Jargo has the Terror Surge, Luau has another Pulse Bomb, and they've been so consistent with them. This is looking rough.
Yep, we do see right now the Terror Surge coming through, eventually going to separate Pomko, able to get out of that thanks to digging into the ground. And again, this is the second time that Kernmaster is knocked out of their Coalescence as Istis is able to get the beat online. Same thing with Strato to be able to keep you alive, but Dr. Jargo already super low, and Istis gets the 2K! There we go, cleaning things up. And now Pomko back on the scene, hoping to clean things up here at this point, eventually going to flip back over, and now with these late deaths, it's a question if anyone except for Strato is going to be able to touch this point, because they know where they're at already.
And Strato's being poked out as well. Pomku just watching with the Venture. If you're able to make sure the Lucio can't even touch in time, Luau is able to get there, but who's going to touch you afterwards?
Yeah, right now Pomko has this all ready to go as the second touch needs to come through. Barely going to come through. A lot of people low, but with Kia online, able to find something with his Coalescence, but unfortunately getting deleted. And Cookie's tablet has a lot at their disposal, but Didn't You See Me on the scene still delivering damage. They's getting flipped around slowly but surely right now. This fight just looked to be purely in the favor of Cookies, but Starlighters managed to pull this one back, and now point gonna flip back over. Nobody should be able to recontest. Starlighters pulling that one back, taking the first map, but honestly, this is such a back and forth affair between these teams out the gate.
Yeah, Didn't You See Me's overclock at the end, just slightly uncontested in the sense that playing so far back comparatively, Pomku has to go in close on the Venture to be able to contest that Sojourn. The same deal for the Tracer. You don't want to be going in when you also have to stall on the objective. If you leave, then you're screwed. If you stay, then the Overclock just gets to fire in for free. It's a difficult position to find yourself in. And it, again, just comes down to ult discipline. Teams not overutilizing them, not overinvesting them when they don't need to. And Starlighters, they just did that a little bit better. Cookiezi's macro looked really clean for a lot of that second point of Li Zhang, but Night Market eventually goes over to Starlighters in the end. Maybe if Kia wasn't getting speared out of every coalescence, we wouldn't have seen quite that, but you know, it's a difficult thing to say. The ultimate charge is so quickly, not exactly relying on it for big value in the first place. I think in terms of composition, the Sojourn is just finding a little bit more value right now, and the Tracer seems to be contesting the angles that Luau is really good at.
I mean, that is kind of what it's coming down to right now, is unfortunately these DPS are getting left alone. Yes, we do see these times where Jinx pulls out some massive things, is able to get rid of Luau very quickly. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's the issue. If Jinx is taken care of or Jinx is preoccupied, Luau, unfortunately, is able to kind of do whatever they want to do. We've seen them go behind all the time and hit these massive flanks where even if they're already down in the fight, we saw multiple times them able to help pull it back. So I think you reach the point where you could continue to run this. They've proven that, you know, we could take a round, we could take a map with this. But are we reaching a point where maybe we want to consider, you know, matching the Tracer, give someone who can contest Luau 100% of the time?
Yeah, and it's a difficult choice to make, right? Because we were talking about Venture in particular being able to do these consistent combos, but then who are you trading out? If you trade out the Sojourn, you don't have the Mirror anymore. If you trade out the Venture, then you don't have that consistent combo. You're going back to what's familiar and what's a known factor, but you're going away from a hero that is kind of considered to be pretty strong at the moment. It's a tough choice to make. I think as well, it's worth pointing out Dr. Jargo on the Orisa has been so good at just bunkering down, even with a DPS line that isn't necessarily working with that Orisa to make sure that they are constantly applying pressure onto the same targets. It requires that extra level of coordination between the Orisa and the Tracer that we have been seeing from Starlighters, and even if Cookiezi start to try and mark Luau fully 100% of the time, maybe that just means that Jargo gets to have a little bit more room, right? The pressure that would be on that Orisa is no longer on them. They get to keep going even harder, so yeah, no matter what changes you make, you've got to be careful of the deficits that you kind of leave in their wake. It's going to be a difficult adjustment to make, especially going into some of these later maps. If we get to see a map 3, no, well, we will get to see a map 3. First to 3 this time. I'm still yesterday brains. When we get to Clash, you know, you're reaching a point where you've kind of got 2.5 maps to figure this out in, because Clash kind of doesn't even count as a full map. That could be over in 3 minutes flat, so yeah, there's going to be a rush at this point to figure out how to resolve this. Going over to King's Row, I mean, it's familiar, right? It's classic. Yeah. I don't feel like there's too much to analyze with it because it's just the map that everyone loves to play.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we do have to analyze, though, is that we do have a couple of swaps coming through. We have Yunjin coming in for Istis and Feedstacker coming in for Jinx, which does draw a little bit of curiosity with Feedstacker having that tank role next to them. So I'm a little curious what they're going to end up pulling out here, but I mean, the question is, obviously, you know, this is done draft style, so is this just the case of trying to make sure everybody gets some playtime, or is this a legitimate strategy that they have something they want to pull out for King's Row? Maybe they get a little spicy with what they want to run here, and it's not just Orisa? Maybe?
I mean,
a little bit of Doom? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see what you're cooking there. Maybe as well, they're like, okay, if we want to play like a full brawl, maybe we're going to like a Venture May kind of look. I've seen people float it hypothetically at least, you know, but I think realistically, you were on the nail on the head when you said it's a draft kind of situation, right? It's the auction. Everyone has to get at least one map in per series. Doing it in map 2 when you're not at match point yet, and you can just kind of like figure out what kind of final composition and what team line you want to be running. It gives you that flexibility to be like, okay, we're not bringing in someone entirely fresh for the last map on match point where tensions are running high. We've got a little bit of breathing room to still figure out like who's going to be best when we get over to that third map, because for Cookiezi's, they're not at match point at the moment, but one more and it'll be Clash, and again, it goes so quickly that you really don't have time to be figuring things out at that point. Bringing in new players for a map that can go that quickly is definitely a risk. So I don't dislike this strategy of like, let's bring in some new players, let's get some new people on the field, figure out like how we actually want to run these compositions going over to map 3, and hopefully for the rest of the series as well, right? If we can take it all the way to a map 5, that's going to be great for Cookiezi. Maybe they finish it in 4. Either way, going to be starting out on pretty much the same composition as before, but Laura on the Cassidy starting out. I believe this Mercy Widow was just to get out the gate, but for Starlighters, I mean, it's a... Okay, almost. Not quite.
Almost.
I was going to say, it's a gambit, but you wouldn't necessarily expect to pay off.
Yep, it's worth noting as well that Laura and Gaxter also got brought in as well, so both teams ended up making their own swaps, and not a whole lot of changes from those compositions, but Laura going to be over on the Cassidy. Meanwhile, Feet Stacker putting matching over with that Sojourn going up in the air, able to kind of push them back a little bit, maybe try to start getting this first tick underway, but with Laura already going to be down, losing on the Cassidy means you lose out that ability to kind of hinder people as Stratocaster hoping to find something as they're going to just really just try to get out of there, honestly. They realize the fight's already over with, but still, even with losing that fight, Starlighters is going to end up getting that very first tick, but unfortunately going to be forced back eventually, but Cookies do kind of give away that first tick more or less for free.
Yeah, there was a lot of space just kind of given over to Starlighters for them to be able to find that, and if you just, like, lose a fight after the first 5 seconds, and are able to draw it out for, like, another 30 and get a tick off the back of it, that puts you in really good standing. We can see both teams building up to ultimates as well. Kernmaster on this Moira is going to have the Coalescence quicker than Kia's window, but the window you can usually expect to find more value in the first place, so for Starlighters, it's just a matter of slowly burning down the wick.
Yeah, and look at this already. Yunjin already going to have this beat online ready to go. And right now you see Kia separated and eventually get rid of the Immortality Field, getting burnt away. Cookiezi tablet, I mean, putting on a nice display here out the gate, making their style work right now as this feels like a little bit of a different team. Not having that Tracer to kind of constantly be able to hit these different flanks, Lure has to play a little bit more straightforward on the Cassidy.
Yeah, when you've not got as many angles to approach from on a map like King's Row, you don't have to worry about everything all at once from the same time, and with new players coming as well, it'd be difficult to find it. An early window gets Cookiezi's low, but not low enough.
Yeah, you saw that come through the Coalescence match with the window, hoping to find the spear. This time, Kernmaster able to use it for the whole entire time, but Yujin already down. Big going to come online from Starlighters. Second tick going to come on very shortly here. Now the question is, do you force the recontestment? And Melody says, yes, heck yeah, we're going to. Gonna pull them back in. Eventually going to try to get rid of people. Lore is taking a finish off Melody. Eventually going to come through. 4-15 on the point. Pomko, unfortunately, going to meet their friends in the spawn room.
Magnate is such a silly ability, and Yunjin coming in to express the same sentiment. Giving
They're alive.
Fist to the face. Yeah, the loser's going to be able to get out as well. Nice little...
There
you go.
Someone's been watching SK.
Escape for the Lucio, and it means that you're going to be able to retain that sound barrier without giving any ult charge back over to Starlighters as well. Starlighters, though, are going to have control of Archway, so no close hold for Cookiezi on this occasion. Nevertheless, they're going to be able to recontest with the overclock and the sound barrier, just as long as Starlighters don't stand in front of it.
Yeah, Feastack kind of bringing away a lot of damage. Unfortunately, not able to hit the same person twice, so now they're just going to wait it out. But Eugene does have that beat ready to go here, so when Stratocaster eventually going to use their ultimate, they're going to go aggressive with it. Likely going to see the beat from Eugene. It is going to come out. It took a moment for him to drop, but eventually does manage to be able to do so. As Kia going to be taken out by Kernmaster, Gaxter, already super low, but Stratocaster, again, being the saving grace for the team, managing to find Eugene. As right now, they can just kind of hide away and reset because Cookies, despite having the advantage, they can't push this too hard.
No, they've got the archway control that they were really looking for as well, so they don't really need to push it at the moment, but Starlighters, they're going to go for a quick recontest.
Uh-oh. Yep, going in with the aggression Melody. Already got to use the gold form, already super low. Kernmaster going to bring out the Coalescence just to keep them alive, but that's a nice headshot going through there to take them out, burnt away. Now the Coalescence just they use the back up, as instead, Cal going to bring out their own and force them back. Unfortunately, this really isn't going to find anything at the end of the day.
It finds a lot of space, though. Cookiezi is forced all the way back through third, means that Starlighters get to hold this choke point if they really want to. We can see Dr. Jargo wanting to put some of the pressure on still, even playing so much further forward. If you can eliminate the number of fights that you have to take on the streets, you get a massive advantage through Kings.
And right now, Shadowcaster waiting for the moment to come through, gonna bullying through the ground, separating a little bit. Pomko going to get deleted with a little help from Lord. Now Stratocaster over here with the side with Yunjin. Being going to come online. Terror Surge going to try to bring them in as Melody already losing a lot of health as things are. Counter Terror Surge coming through. Not able to get rid of anybody yet, but Kernmaster is taken down. Yujin and Melody not going to be too far behind here. A little bit of Deadeye for good measure. Starlighters going to clean this fight up, and they do end up using 4 ultimates overall in that fight, though. A little costly, but worth it to finish with over 3 minutes sitting in that time bank going into third.
Yeah, going into third with that 3-minute time bank gives them the opportunity to just build up to a full ult bank and still force them from Cookiezis in order for them to maintain their defense. Shredder consistently on these flanks, taking the job of Luhao to be the angle pressure, a tectonic shock from behind. Oh
my
Yunjin.
Good God, that was dirty. Poor Yunjin did not deserve it. A Shadowcaster still has the ult online. As for Cookiezi, honestly, they just need to back out, take the reset. You have plenty of time to retouch this point. You're gonna have 3 ults. Just take time. Make sure you got everybody back.
Take time at the moment, but not too much, because we are starting to get towards the end of third now, already 56 meters through. There's not a huge amount left for you to be able to give up a Melody, recognizing this, going to re-engage back in. Now 3 meters left before they're able to touch.
Yeah, not finding a whole lot, but able to help get rid of Gagster eventually. 1.86 meters back on the clock as both Coalescence going to come online. Pomco still hoping to find something coming up here. Shadowcaster still has their own ultimate, but eventually just going to be forced out. Gonna retreat and gonna hold on to a couple of really key ultimates, because Cookiezi really did invest a lot to hold on there.
It was costly, and that's what I was talking about when I say that, you know, you're forcing out the defensive ultimates from Cookiezi's, and now Starlighters, again, they want to take the aggression before they can build back.
Oh, barely bringing the beat online as well. Able to keep 3 of them up. Pomco does not get hit with it, though. Still super low. Eventually going to get drained away, but Cookiezi does find 2 really good picks. Melody just has to focus on being able to stay alive. But Laura back on the scene, just draining away these members. Kermaster already down. Melody just trying to hide on the point, trying to push somebody off. Doesn't manage to technically kill Stratocaster, but apparently not technically. As Laura trying to finish things up here, only a couple of members remaining on this card. Fate Stacker, though, able to get rid of Gagster right now, as it's looking like Cookiezi eventually going to be able to stabilize, especially thanks to Pomco and Kernmaster for being able to stay alive as long as they did.
Starlighters really wanted that as well. They invested pretty heavily to try and close that out then and there, with now going into that 1-minute time bank. They were hoping to have a little bit more for them to be able to close out with. At least they're not at the point where they're looking to finish an OT at the moment, but Cookiesi's having ultimates. It's not looking as confident as that initial 3 minutes 30 time bank we saw for Starlighters going into third.
Yep, and we see the big cooldown being used out the gate by Dr. Jargo, as Melody, though, not going to have their own coalescence to be able to back them up, so likely going to have to use the Terror Surge just to have some extra help to stay alive, and will eventually be burnt out for that matter. And now it is just Starlighters cleaning things up here. Fate Stackers does manage to find one. Unfortunately, that is going to call things momentarily here, as Yunjin going to be booped away, taken out. Starlighters able to finish with a crisp 30 seconds on the clock. I don't think as much as they were expecting to, how much they were hoping for, but still, finishing the map with time, that's always best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, being able to finish with time on Kings, I mean, you know, it avoids that we can only draw kind of situation, which always feels so bad to be in when you just don't quite have enough of a time bank to be able to sustain through. Starlighters as well, Laura came back on the Sojourn. I liked the way the Deadites were being used to just kind of like force space or punish a Terror Surge from Melody if it came out. But at the same time, I think, you know, the Sojourn is just kind of stronger overall. It's just, you know, more consistent in terms of the amount of damage you're able to put out, the space that you can force with things like the Disruptor Shot. Magnade is really good, but it's also kind of avoidable if you're not, like, cheesed by it and it follows you across 3,000 miles. I think Starlighters overall sticking on this composition with Laura staying on the Sojourn and Kia beginning on the Moira this time as well, compared to starting on the Baptiste last time to just try and build up to a window on first. It's going to put them in really good standing for their defense. Cookiesi's floating a Junker Queen right now, which, honestly, I think if you were struggling in terms of, like, sustain and kill potential with an Orisa, you're probably not going to find that to greater effect with the Junker Queen. I think this works well if you're planning to play, like, really explosive, but if that's the plan, I'd rather see something like the Kiriko in rather than the Moira. This I don't see lasting particularly long.
No, likely not, but at the end of the day, if they do manage to find that first fight win, I mean, that momentum is just going to carry through, and they'll likely keep on to this for as long as they can. As they're going to go super aggro with the shout there and the Carnage, able to do a ton of damage, but the healing is too much from Kya, who is going to have a lot of healing to start fights. The whole point is that they'll run out eventually during it, so unfortunately, that initial burst, while effective in doing a lot of damage, unfortunately, not going to result in anybody actually dying.
And Dr. Jargo on the Orisa as well, like we said, uncontested, just able to find, I believe that was 4 in that fight as well. Melody going over to the Winston now. I think if you could just play Orisa, you should probably just play Orisa. Who's going to be your dive target here?
I mean, you have a couple of options within Kya and Laura. Just really have to force out their mobility, as unfortunately Melody, the problem is they're putting themselves in a situation where they can't set up the dive. Yes, I realize Starlighters being a little aggressive, but you have high grounds to work with that not everybody from Starlighters can kind of get to very easily, as they're just going to be drained away one by one, forced eventually back to the spawn, as Melody finally going to go back over to the Orisa.
Yeah, and I do like this overall. You could try and force out things like the Fade and things like the Power Slide from the Sojourn and from the Moira, but ultimately you've got to get those cooldowns out somehow, and if it comes at the cost of your bubble or your leap, the dive just becomes all the more difficult. Kia taken out early. The Coalescence no longer on the field for Starlighters. It's a huge pick.
I mean, yeah, ults being used left and right for the time being. Kernmaster hoping to find something with this Coalescence. Unfortunately, not a whole lot, but is able to keep Melody alive for way longer than they probably should have been. It is sitting super low. Orb coming back online shortly as the gold form eventually going to be forced out. As Cookiezi's tablet does have the ability to fight back here, but the Coalescence is brought back. Beat going to be able to keep them alive for the time being. But they still have to do something with this. Take back some of this space that they have lost. As they're really going to go on as Terazich coming in. It's massive. Yunjin going to get found, forcing the gold form out of Melody as well. Pushing back the rest of Cookiezi's tablet. And Laura helping finish things up. Last couple members eventually going to be forced away. And just like that, Starlighters Starlighters holding on once again as Cookiezi's tablet just haven't been able to get really anything going, unfortunately.
And though they're forcing ultimates out of Starlighters each time they make these attacks, they're also using ultimates themselves. And like you mentioned, I'd love to see them start to take some high ground to really find some value off the back of them. Feedstacker's Overclock should have been able to find more, and these fast fights, they feel like they're consistently in Starlighters' favor.
Yep, 100% is already Yunjin gonna be taken out. See the eventual 1v1 happening over on the side as Melody does manage to get rid of Gagster. That is nice as the Coalescence is going to be brought out. Pomko hoping to find something here, doing a lot of damage, but nobody contesting that point quite yet as Kernmaster eventually going to get rid of Lord. If they were ever going to win this fight, it was going to be now, but unfortunately a lot of people low, and Stratocaster going in deep, able to get rid of two, and the Coalescence is being brought on top of it. Just so unfortunate. Cookiezi, as soon as they get something going, Starlighters just answer directly back.
It feels like as soon as Kia's caught out with the Coalescence available, they're able to get back in 3 seconds flat. The Coalescence comes through and Cookiezi's are caught off guard by it. Only 40 seconds left now and still not a single tick found for Cookiezi's tablet. This is looking very difficult indeed as Starlighters come up on the rope bank.
Yep, 100% here is going to this, coming up on potentially last fight, but with it ending that quickly might not be. As Melody Feedcaster already taken out, just doing amazing things right here, Stratocaster on this venture, but Cookie's tablet, they will get one more fight, but they don't have an ult to be able to do it.
No ults. Laura's going to have the overclock. Dr. Jargo has the Terror Surge. Gagster's Beat is there to sustain Starlighters through as well. The defending team has the advantage of taking this fight however they want, and Cookiezi's, they have to go quick with only 5 seconds left.
Yep, 100% overclock going to be coming online. Someone needs to give the touch. I saw a touch coming through for maybe a millisecond. It's enough to be able to keep things going as things are to trade out. B going to come online, though. Yujin gets the beat. Unfortunately, it's the Ajax. So many of them getting to 90+%. Unfortunately, no one able to get it in time. A dominant hold for Starlighters, putting themselves over on match point as, yes, Gagster, that was
Alex.
Alex.
That was, I mean, we saw it ourselves, an utterly dominant defense from Starlighters. It felt like Cookiezis didn't really have a game plan in terms of being able to set themselves up properly on the attack to find just a really nice singular fight that they wanted to go for. Usually when you're on that attacking side, you at least have the advantage of going, let's just build up to 5 ultimates, see if we can force out 1 from the defending team, and then at least go into it as like a 5 versus 4 ult kind of fight in the next one. We can play for the high ground position that Starlighters aren't trying to contest. We can play for any kind of like push through hotel as a team. But it felt like consistently Cookiesi's strategy was just, let's run it down main really quickly and see if we can kill someone, which they were killing someone, but it was trading out 2 or 3 people at the same time. Even when they were finding early picks, it felt like they weren't able to capitalize off the back of it, and I can only attribute it to the fact that Starlighters just were playing the overall positioning game consistently a lot better than Cookiesi's were. As we go over to map 3, which is going to be Clash, map positioning, understanding tempo, ult macro, these are going to be things that you cannot make any mistakes on, because even one slip up can very easily start to snowball away from you. Maybe I'm gonna get to see my first end of Clash in 3 points here, but either way, I don't want to get a little bit too negative, because there were moments of good from Cookiezi's. Their defense looked a lot better than their attack, so there is still opportunity for them to prove me a little bit wrong in thinking that maybe this is going to be entirely one-sided.
Yeah, it's something we're gonna have to wait and see. As Clash has proven to be a mode within these first couple of days we've gotten to witness it. It can be a very fast mode. This is a game that could end in 3 minutes if you are just that dominant on it. Which, with what we have just seen on King's Row, like you said, don't want to get negative about it, but the potential is there because we want you guys to see as much Clash as you possibly can. But I just really want to see. I want to see Cookiezi not. Oh, you can mess around, have some fun, but I think we've reached the point where you might just want to try to start on the Orisa this time around.
We said it before, but we'll say it again. She's consistent. She's reliable. She's a tank that won't get easily bullied by other tanks or other DPS. It's just safe to go for Orisa, and in a situation like this where you're now 2 down in a series and you've got to bring different players back in, maybe safe is what you want to be going for. If we're not starting on the Orisa, I'm going to be questioning it quite a lot.
I mean, I 100% will as well. So, I mean, it's just a weird situation. Honestly, like going into, I mean, I don't know how to put this because I've never had the experience since we got to Push of like, oh, we have this new map that comes out. But Push was kind of a new thing, and we'll get to experience that, which honestly is fantastic. But kind of gonna take a moment first because at the end of the day, we do gonna take a moment, let these teams prepare. We'll take a quick little halftime break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you again here in a few short minutes. Hello, welcome everybody back from our halftime here at BPL's Rock Rumble, and so far, had an initial back and forth between our two teams today, Starlighters and Cookiezi's Tablet. Unfortunately, going into King's Row, the story very quickly shifted as Starlighters took some very large control, especially on their dominant defense, not even allowing a single tick. And now, Willotron, we head over to a map where it's I can't say it's more traditional than it gets. It's as traditional as it gets. If you grew up playing Call of Duty, you understand how Clash works. You don't need to read a manual like you had to for Push. This is a very straightforward map type.
Yeah, and weirdly, that fact that it feels so traditional is kind of feels very not Overwatch. It goes so quickly, you just kind of get caught up by it, like, wait, hang on a second. This objective's already done, we're finished here? There's no, like, oh, we're ticking up for a few percentage. Like, no, it's just done. You cap it and you go on to the next. It feels very different indeed, and I think players are going to have to make that adjustment very quickly if they want to be able to stay in this playoffs, especially for Cookiezis. They are currently in match point scenarios, so for them, it's going to be difficult to make sure that they stay alive. And as once again, I don't know if we're going to have any substitutions necessarily, but if you're going to be sticking with the same team, you've now got to make the playstyle adjustments that you needed to on King's Row to make sure that we don't see a repeat of just an absolutely dominant Starlighters taking over your third map as well and closing out the series, because this is a single Elim playoffs bracket. Losing here means you're out for good.
I mean, yep, you're 100% correct about that one. Is getting ready to head in for Hanaoka. Only Clash map that does exist for the time being. So getting into things here, looking to see if we have any real swaps that kind of come through. But, I mean, it definitely got ISTIS coming back in. I believe that might be the only real swap, as Dr. Jargo currently teasing the Mauga. I really hope that's not the case, but honestly, Mauga's still not, still not a terrible pick. Cool to pull out from time to time. Just don't do it in my ranked games, please.
I appreciate guys typing in all caps at the start. We are playing Farah. You know, you got to make sure that if you run something a little bit... you lied about it. You lied about it. I was going to say, if you're going to run something a little bit dishonorable, you've at least got to be honest, but you weren't. It's a deception. I hate you. I hope that Cookiezis win.
Yeah, you know what? We're both team Cookiezis now. That's getting into this map right now, Clash. Point gonna open up here in just a few short seconds. The both teams taking that top right area to kind of take the push for the time being right now. Very closed in quarters as well. Really favoring both of the racer types as Gangster manages to find a 2K boop. But Pomko does manage to help get rid of Jargo as well. I'm surprised teams decided to go on the outside knowing that we had two Lucio's on the scene, as Pomko says, care the ledge right now. As people staying alive, as Starlighters going to eventually take over this third, or the point C right now. So we do have Melody making their way back onto the scene. They realize they don't want to give this up for free right now. It's going to take back a little bit of control and taking back a little bit of space as well.
Even though the fight felt like it was kind of one fight, maybe it's getting started, we can see how close Starlighters were to finding a cap there. Is to find the pick on the Gangster, and a nice pulse onto the Architect. Means that they're 2-0 up, or 2-1 up for Cookies at the moment, but Starlighters still hanging on.
Yeah, Pomko gonna come on the scene once again, helping get rid of Shadowcaster. And that point seemed like it was gonna go over to Starlighters, but Cookies and Tablet able to hold on to this, and now with it ticking away, looking to see if anybody's gonna be able to make the recontestment. Does not look like it, so point C going to go over to Cookies as we move over to point D instead. Starlighters have another chance to set up.
Yeah, Starlighters taking the, in my opinion, correct decision to not try and re-engage there and play around the high ground advantage that they'll have on D point. It's still going to be a matter of a difficult recontest as Cookies come up onto all of their ultimates first, but Starlighters, if they can stall a little bit longer, they'll have ones to respond with.
Yeah, Coalescence is being used a little bit early. You're hoping to find somebody as eventually the counter Coalescence, but by Architect going to come out as the B comes online. Can be able to keep Jargo alive, as well as the others. As Pomko going to be taken out. Bringing a lot of pressure over here as Gangster gets pulled back into their death. Good call, Melody. So back to the 4v4 with Starlighters claiming most of the point for the time being. Someone needs to stay on this point, where Dr. Jargo eventually forced Melody into a place where they had to touch the point in that situation. Unfortunately, yes, accept their death as we're going right back to C. Both teams taking 1 point apiece. As right now, this point will take a little while to unlock, so Cookiezis, plenty of time to get back and recontest.
Kernmaster just about getting out there. There was a moment of, if the Moira gets caught out here, this is just going to be C, probably going the way of Starlighters as well, as these objectives go so quickly. The Moira's back out though, he's safe. Starlight is able to set up nevertheless, and with this overclock as well, it's going to be a deadly combo as Cookiezis no ultimates at the moment to try and counter it with.
Yeah, both teams no longer want to go to the outside area. Can't blame them at all, as both warriors already going to be down. Gonna take some time to learn up to those coalescence, as Jargo gonna get rid of Melody and Strato. Just helping with the rest of the cleanup. Gonna get away from that pulse bomb as well. Starlighters to start unlocking that point C once again. There could be a contestment, but it's looking like Cookiezi are just going to sit back and defend B instead. So Starlighters will take the lead in points, going up 2-1. But they're really only going to have the overclock, but Cookiezi's not even doing better than that.
Yeah, I mean, being able to retain the overclock at least gives you an ult advantage at the moment, and you're going to be able to build up to things like the coalescence so quickly as well that you don't mind it so much. If Kernmaster is taken out early or the coal is forced early, there's going to be a huge advantage for Starlighters.
Yeah, 100% as well. Still holding it as well. Really just kind of holding to the territory, waiting for that point to truly unlock, as didn't you see me gonna roll back with that overclock eventually. Hoping to find somebody, as Istis is actually gonna go down first and foremost right now. Strato has been doing a lot of work onto these tracers that didn't you see me eventually going to get drained down. Damage though could have already been done, especially with Kermaster already going down, not able to find a lot on their coalescence. And you would have doubled down on that. Architect held on to theirs. So now just a cleanup coming through for Starlighters, and now they're going to be taking control of B, and now we are down to A. If they claim this point, they will not only win the map, but they will go and win the series. So Cookiezi cannot afford to lose another fight.
But it's such a difficult point to be able to cap these last points on Clash. They are so weighted in the defender's favor. Those respawns are incredibly close. You've got the cover to be able to play around when you're on the defensive position. Starlighters are going to have a difficult time. Nevertheless, they've got the surge, they've got the tectonic shock, they've got the coalescence. They could try and make a play here if they wanted, or just force ultimates out of Cookiesi's for an eventual recontest.
Yeah, force Yujin into a pretty weird position there. Eventually getting forced around, coming through a lot of people inside. That Melody gets a lot of people low, unfortunately. Not able to get rid of any of them at all, and now Coalescence is going to come online, trying to stay on live right now as Pomco, who does have their ultimate, going to fly up into the air, is not going to have the ability to really sustain, though, at the end of the day. Is already we're sitting at 3/4 for Cookiezi's tablet, trying to take their own point and bring this one back, but now it's just going to find Stratocaster. We're just going to keep things going for the time being. Like you said, that spawn is very close right now as the rest of Starlighters looking to eventually get deleted, as Architect going down means that Didn't You See Me just gets caught up from the side by Pomco. And it's looking like Cookiezi will be able to take back their point A. We'll eventually be able to go back to B, but still going to be down 3-2 going into this next point.
And also Melody now back onto the Winston. Yet again, this composition kind of moved away from, you're going to be able to set up initially, but Starlight is on the stronger comp going into this, and they've got things like the beat already available. Starlighters have the advantage here of just being able to say, we could play towards the midpoint and take an advantageous fight for us, or we could try and force things out of Cookiesi's really aggressively, knowing we're on the stronger composition now.
Yeah, oh, the beat comes out, but not able to keep Stratocaster alive, being caught up there by Istis, and now, hoping to clean up the other supports, Istis has now found 2. Now Starlighters just throwing themselves onto the point, hoping to find some kind of pick. Unfortunately, not looking like they're going to be able to now, as eventually Cookiezi is going to take back that next point, taking back B, tying it up completely, as we are just directly back where we started.
Yeah, in the end, Starlighters went for the worst of both worlds in that they played really aggressively whilst investing ultimates and not finding value from them. Just kind of the worst case scenario for you there, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Eventually you are going to be able to recontest. Cookiesi's again have the starting position around this center point though, so for Starlighters, the ultimates that they are building back towards, they have to use to dislodge Cookiesi's from this high ground.
Yep, it's just forced back. He's the overclocking build to kind of stay alive, keep some presence, but they're being drained away. Is Sharko going to get rid of 2? Melody still doing a lot of work. Unfortunately, does not really have that Primal Rage anymore to really be able to sustain this, but Yujin still is doing a lot for their team on this Lucy. Unfortunately, eventually going to be caught out right now. As Starlighters holding on to pretty much all of their ultimates in this fight as well. I think Cookiesi's, this might be that time where you might actually want to try to force something and try to get out as many ultimates as you can from them, as they're going to force them all the way, pull them into the Terror Surge, getting a lot of people low. Someone has to touch this point, though. Nobody is going to, and that means that people are going to start shifting over to B, and these late deaths are going to mean a heck of a lot because Starlighters, they just need one more point.
Yeah, we're now at match point for Starlighters on both Clash and in the series overall. 10 seconds until the point unlocks on Cookiesi's. They've got a Coalescence and they've got that Tectonic Shock, but they are going to be working hard to build up to the rest of their ult bank. Starlighters, they've got a Coal, they've got an OC, they've got a Tectonic Shock to match. This is going to be very much in their favor.
Yeah, Strato just not going to hold back. They're going to go immediately. They're going to hit all their buttons now. They want to take this thing down right here and now. Curdmaster needs to stay alive, just trying to do their very best to be able to do so. Eventually, getting rid of Didn't You See Me, and now they need to focus on staying alive and forcing some kind of touch. Eventually, as coming back onto the scene is going to be Yunjin, forcing away a lot of eyes over to them. Unfortunately, we're looking at one quarter close, and they're managing to barely touch in time. Melody is currently 80%, needs to stay alive, needs to be able to find this point as they're trying to stay alive. Unfortunately, not going to get the Primal Rage in time, and it is just Pomko to hold on for a moment longer, trying to hold on to the point, B coming online in spell of victory for Starlighters, eventually finishing out things here on Hanaoka, and we'll take the series, and we'll move on to the next round.
That was, I mean, Clash, like you said, it just goes incredibly quickly. Each point just absolutely flies by. And with there not really being an overtime timer as well, it's just, once it's capped, it's capped. In those final moments when you're trying to play for touch as well, it can be so difficult to just try and keep the point stalled. There we can see the double boop from Gags to start it off. And then also Pomku getting a little bit of a knockoff to make sure that the enemy Orisa also felt it too. But Starlighters, I mean, they looked dominant on King's Row. I think there was a lot of fight that was shown from Cookiezi on both Lijiang and Hanaoka at the end there, but at the end of the day, it was just a few little things. I think maybe the willingness to swap compositions and try and change up heroes instead of having faith in what should just be the stronger comp. Maybe let Cookiezi's down towards the end there. Maybe if they'd stayed on the Orisa, I mean, they were able to take 2 points back-to-back, equalize in terms of match score, and then have the advantage defensively on that center point as well. There was the opportunity for them to start snowballing against Starlighters and really turn Hanaoka around and keep themselves alive in this series, but unfortunately just not able to make it happen. Starlighters are going to advance into our second round of the playoffs, and Cookiezis are sent home, sadly, because single elim just works like that.
Yeah, that's just how it kind of goes down at the end of the day. But still, it still ends up being a good display. They put on a really good fight over on Lijiang. We saw a lot of fight over there on Hanaoka. And kind of talking about these swaps of the tank, you know, obviously you'll scrim. God knows how much some of these players scrim. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there are some choices that you will only make in a match. They're just these judgment calls that you will make, realizing, hey, this is what I think is going to work best. Let's try to go all in on this. And sometimes it works. Unfortunately, in this case, it just did not. But you gotta give them credit for at least going for it, trying to play their style, trying to play their way, because at the most, one point you have to make is that this is a game. You want to have fun with it. Yeah. You play what you want to play, you know. Sometimes, though, meta doesn't quite dictate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's, that fine balance, like you say, of like, it's a game, you're there to play. Also, when you're coming into these tournaments, you're there to win, you're there to perform really well. It's like, I want to be able to feel like I'm confident in the heroes pick. Like, I believe Melody comes back on the Winston to be able to keep the point going and recontest when A was the point in contention, but it's just so difficult recovering from that afterwards. It's like, if you don't make the swap, then are you able to touch in time? If you do make the swap, do you swap back to the Orisa afterwards and give up on the ult charge that you'd have and like slow your team down as well for setting up to the next point? It's a difficult judgment call to make no matter what you're doing, but at the end of the day, as long as you're able to say, we gave it a good shot. We did our best, we played as well as we could for now, and we're going to come back stronger next time. Alright, yeah, I'll take that.
You gotta take that. At the end of the day, again, here for fun. Having a nice time here playing Clash for the very first time as we'll kind of take a relook and see how we're looking so far on the bracket. So far, a few teams already moving up into the quarterfinals. We're in one of our matches with ChatIsThisReal and the Shogunate. Gonna be facing each other in that matchup. But of course, you see people up top still not done with their own matches, and Starlighters not even aware on who their own opponent is going to be next, which, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not in a place where this isn't like a very long league where you have a chance to really analyze your opponents, really see what they're made out of. You do just have to play your game, play your style, and hope to God that it just happens to be the right answer.
We are going to be able to get some interviews as well coming through. It looks like we're going to be getting Drayton and Gag just coming into the VC right now. I don't know if we're ready to start that right now. I'll wait for a little word from Solomon. Yeah, okay, we're here. We're done. Well, welcome in. How are you both feeling?
Incredible.
Pretty
good.
That was two completely different responses. Good. I don't know. Hey, but either way, winners interview. We're having some fun here today. So first question I really want to ask out the gate here. I'm sure like throughout the last couple of days that maybe you have already experienced the Clash map, but what was your kind of your experience with it? How'd you feel about it playing in a match for the very first time?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it could use a bit of tweaking.
I think it's weird that if we cap 2 in a row and they push back on the 2 points that are heavily advantaged for them, that it's a tie game at the middle. That's weird. But outside of that, I mean, it's a game mode that I think has potential. I think it's just the way that scoring works is stupid.
It's flawed. It's flawed, especially with last point where the defending team is like right there and the attacking team is so far away, and it's just like a free point for the defending team there.
It's 2 CP.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you were gonna make a change, right? You're gonna just change something about it. Is there anything in mind that you've got for it? Because, like, for me, I just think the points need to last like twice as long. I think it just needs to be slower to cap, and you've at least got like the foundations for more than just one fight per point. But I don't know. How is it feeling actually playing it?
I feel like you could probably make it so that like the middle point counts as 1, the next point counts as 2, and maybe you change like the amount of like points you need to get to win. Like maybe make it like 7 or something like that. But middle is 1 point, second point is 2 points. But also like you're like, I don't know, like you, until you get to middle, you don't get extra points, if that makes sense. So, like defense only gets 1 point if they defend A, essentially, or E, whichever one. But I don't know. I'm not a game dev.
I think with making the smallest amount of changes, just make everyone respawn once the other team caps a point. Just like every other kind of map. Because, you know, fights can drag on, and then you have like 2 points for free for killing one person. Almost.
Fair. Yeah, no, I mean, we've seen that where you just like find a pick sometimes, and then that's it. The point's just yours. So yeah, I can see how that would work.
Very reminiscent of that 2CP, as I was going to bring up the question of who do you think is going to win this matchup that you're waiting for your opponent, but it turns out we do. You're going to be facing up against C's here in the quarterfinals just in about a half an hour's time. So coming to this first match, you get that 3-0. So what is the confidence level for you guys like going from not just, you know, winning these first couple matches, but potentially getting to the grand finals? How do you feel confidence-wise about getting to that point?
We feel pretty good. It's obviously like this was going to be the easiest match that we have. C's is a good team. Then we have to face either ChatIsReal or Shogunate, and they're both really good teams. And then we have to face like Hive 5. So it's a tough road to get to the finals and win it, but I think it's something we're capable of doing. This team is, I think we're a good team. We're getting into our synergy. We got one of the best venture players, I think, in the tournament in general. As long as I don't hit my brains out too bad, we'll be good.
I mean, oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I have no notes. I was pretty apt.
Oh, fair enough. I was gonna say, you mentioned, you know, if you make it, you're gonna have to go against Hive 5 most likely. You are one of those teams that did get to play against them yesterday. Do you think you're gonna be able to beat them if you get into that matchup?
I think we played it closer than the 2-0 scoreline showed. We played it really close. I think it's something that, you know, we go to first to 3 rather than first to 2. I think we have a much better shot. It's not gonna be easy. That team is really good. They're a stacked team. But I think we have the pieces, but we have to get through our next 2 matchups first, so we can worry about High 5 on Sunday.
And that wasn't even the first time we played them. We actually ended up scrimming them the day before.
Yeah, we scrimmed them
a little weird
on Friday or on Thursday, and then played them on Friday.
I think we're well practiced against them, so I think we'll show a bit better performance next time if we get there.
When you get there, confidence.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It makes sense. But of course, we're gonna get ready for our next matchup coming up here pretty shortly, and I know you guys need to as well. But before we get out of here, is there anything you really want to say, or anybody you want to thank? Now that you kind of have a quick platform on here to do so.
Well, we had a lot of so BPL Season 4. I was the captain of Nuclear. We had Drayton. We had Feedstacker. So this game was a bit of a Nuclear reunion. You know, I'm a big fan of Feedstacker, so I'm sad he's out of the tournament now, but I have faith next tournament for sure.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how this team works out. This is my first time playing with some of these guys. I've played with Didn't and Luau before. I've lost to Lore before. Strato and I kind of played together in the past. Gag and I have played together. So I think this is a really solid team. We shout out to Strato. I invested $250K on a main support player, and then it turns out they're just one of the best ventures out right now. So my spending of half of my budget on support players when I am also a support player has paid off. The gamble has succeeded.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. But either way, congratulations on your first win, and of course, good luck here in your quarterfinals matchup. Because at this point, I'm rooting for you guys. Don't tell anybody in chat I said that though.
I think you just told chat that, but thank you.
Well, they're here for you. They're here for you. We don't matter. In the interview, it's just you two. They actually psychology. They blur us out.
We're deafened right now. Nobody else.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Solomon,
we're just in a rubber room with rats.
Oh. Take us out, please. Free me.
All right, but yes, of course. Thank you guys very much for stopping by for the interview. Best of luck in your next match as well.
So, thank you.
Well, holy moly, Willowtron. I love the energy. Love to see it as we kind of look at our current schedule right now. Obviously, we're done here with the 3-0 for Starlighters and Cookiesi's tablet, but for the moment, it seems like I have Raygun and Tagates kind of still playing over on the BPL 2, so while we're kind of waiting for this initial matchup over at 8 o'clock to start, you can swap over there and kind of check how things are going out over there as, hey, it's not a 3-0. That's just exciting in its own right, honestly.
I was seeing it in the standings when we were getting the brief, like, oh, they're still going, right? We're getting a team that's continuing to play throughout this first round. That's very exciting to go. So, I think we may as well throw it quickly so that you don't lose out on the conclusion of that series. Anything you want to say, Hunter?
No. I'm just really happy I got to saw Clash for the first time. I have my own opinion on that. You might see it somewhere else. You won't see it here today, but I don't know. I'll wait till I scrim the thing, honestly. It's I won't get real thoughts until then.
That's fair enough.
No. But, of course, we're going to send it to a break, because, of course, we do have another matchup on the way, but we're just taking a break for about 15 minutes while we wait for everybody to get set up, get our new casters back in, but either way, it has been a pleasure. We'll see the rest of you here in a little while.
I think that swap, like you mentioned. Just push forward. Yeah. Now it's Cookiezi' turn to do some spawn camping. Excellent. This is looking fantastic from Cookiezi, or at least a fantastic start to a great defense. Because that RQT guy on the Genji, doing great things. Oh wait, they have the mirror, and we walk forward in the window. Huge beat to save in front. Are we still gonna play in front of the mirror? Oh yeah, they have to give space. Now Raygun doesn't have the choice. They have to back up, even though Window's right there and they want to play in front of it. There's just so much damage coming from Cookiezi here.
Yeah, chances of the JQ here might be to stop Ymir from pushing up front. So we'll see how this goes. JC finds out keeping.
Yeah, great pick as well. And when you see that Chasey has been very, very good with these picks. You get another one from Paul here. At switching? Swatching? Whoa, okay. Swapping and switching. Whoa there, Caster. You're getting ahead of yourself. 2 picks that will match the team comp a little bit better. And yeah, we're seeing him speed here with JQ, with the Lucio speed, and just going forward. They do have to back up because of the window, but man, that is a lot of space and a completely different team comp swap with Chasey going on to JQ here.
Now, Reagan can push the game, and this corner will be hard to push, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? It's hard to push, but we push in pretty hard with Chasey going in with their ultimate first. The Bakery finds RQT. Another bad pick to start out the entire fight. Paul takes out Ymir. Yeah, and they're slowly walking forward and just taking the rest of the team. Oh my god, Tagitas is actually just running. Everybody's just kind of scrambling for their health. We're about to spawn. Can we get another touch here? I don't know if we reach it. Oh! Taken Wallace! Oh my god. Oh my god, wait, he gets deleted with that bolt as well. Both those two go down very quickly. Yeah. Oh my. Very impressive shutdown from Raygun as well. Full cap, preventing them from going back and touching and, sorry, preventing Tagitas from coming back out and stalling it all. They still got a full minute and 30. Oof. Convincing show.
Yeah, especially from the first and second point. Tahitis only stabilized on the third here, so we'll see how well Tahitis can push. But this is very winnable for Reagan.
Yeah. Especially with 1 minute and 30 in the bank and the way that Chasey was pushing forward in the end as JQ, like, that swap was so crucial towards a clean push. I think it was, what, 3 fights with JQ, and they were already into the third. Yeah, like 3 fights. So Tagitas, what are we going to do here? Stop Eye of Raygun from doing the same. Because we have Chasey on Sigma now. I feel like the comp just revolves around Chasey, right? Because the Bakery and Saga have been very consistent with the hero picks, right? It's usually Bat Lucio or like some variant of something. So we're keeping Chasey alive with these picks. So if Chasey is going to go Sigma now, right, that means they're going to be poking and kiting a lot, right, based off their comp. So is this going to be enough for Ram to rush into them with Lucio speed?
2, 1.
Oh, that will be pretty hard on this map because the high ground here is not very accessible.
Yeah.
The stairs are narrow and yeah. Oh,
but you know what?
But they have the Sim TP.
Yeah, we have Sim TP. Maybe that'll change things for us here. Ooh, good shield to prevent most of the damage here, but oh no, Bastion gets that big right click. The entire team has to fall back. Oh my god, look at the space Tagitas is able to gain because of this. This is huge for them. Yeah, Eye of Raygun is forced to absolutely just back up and get out of there because they cannot stay. They have to keep going. That wasn't even a real fight. Yeah, beautiful peel.
Yeah, no, not even. Yeah. No one really died. No one really died. Everyone just got low. Everyone just got low and then disengaged from Raygun.
Yeah. It was a fake fight. It was like a pretend fight. Like, people kind of got hurt and they were like, oh my god, we're actually getting hurt. We should back up here. Oh! Yeah. When is our first pick gonna get through? Let's see here. Anyone going to die here at this point? Immortality goes first.
Pangolix from the Bakery.
Yeah, Pangolix
and then
taking it out.
The Helen starts falling down.
Okay, you know what? Pretty convincing first fight. Like I said, right? Both these teams fantastic at holding space and giving space. Like you probably in comp, right? You won't see anyone backing up like that.
Oh,
but
you who
Tagitas? Yeah, they just get out of there and they hold for another fight. Fantastic for them.
You're holding high here with Pangolix.
Yeah, and we have Pangolix's ult too.
Maybe Bakery here will be popping window to engage.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe
well, I don't know if we're gonna need it anymore.
First. Yeah.
It's very possible. Raygun might have to use, or sorry, Tagitas is going to have to use a lot in order to equalize here. They're down 1. Oh yeah, and Raygun is not afraid to follow up with that opportunity as they go in with the Sigma ults and they kill Ymir right in front of space. Oh my god. It's very satisfying to get that melee off right, after the punch. Yeah. Damn, Chasey.
That is satisfying.
Very satisfying. Ooh. I think that was 4, right? 5? Sharpshooter. Sigma sharpshooter.
Sigma sharpshooter.
Yeah, you know what? I'm liking what I'm seeing. I really like seeing sim plays. Like, the coordination that have to go behind them is very interesting. I don't know if we're going to keep doing it. Okay.
It's very macro heavy.
Yeah. Very macro heavy, which both teams have shown they're amazing at, right? And we have window to walk up here. Look at how diagonal it is so they can take these space. And they even, oh my god, they're not afraid to peek window because they have the wall there. Ymir walks forward. Look at this zoning that's going on. Oh my god, Tagides. Masterful control. Oh my god, Bastion standing still. Doesn't get killed there. It's crazy. Ymir does have his ultimate. And his cooldowns. Oh yeah, he's walking forward. They have beat to come out. Is it going to be enough? Both beats appear.
Hazel finds 4, so...
Ooh, taken!
Yeah, the Hazel will be able to stabilize before the capture on the second point here.
Yeah. Ooh.
But, oh wait, sorry. The Hades is actually the ones attacking now.
Yeah, don't worry. Colors are hard. I getcha. Dude, Hades, the way they're doing their macro is so good right now. You see, I have Raygun knows it as well, and they have to back up like every fight.
Yeah, the push from the Sim and the tanks, and also Pengolex, yeah, very good to push.
Dude, a fast and teleported Bastion running at you? Come on, that's scary.
Really scary.
Terrifying. So, yeah, just abuse the Bastion. Abuse Penglix on Bastion and just get him to a good spot. Like, there's so much space that Raygun has to give up. Yeah, no
Raygun currently knows what's going on for stabilizing this.
Yeah, oh boy. And Ymir has his. Oh boy. Oh, yeah. And the damage. Finding 2 in the little room. Ymir has his ult and using it to maximum efficiency. Holy. Penglix following up, and everyone is dead. Damn.
Yep.
I was looking hopeful for Raygun, you know, with a minute 30, but Tagides right now, if anyone can touch. Oh, we can touch though. Beautiful Flux to come out. Oh my god. Window does save everybody, but they are low and it's precarious. They play in front of a window. Both teams in front of a window. Oh, but it's not enough. Pingalix just blasting everybody through that with shift and window for themselves. Window comes out from Raygun, but is just not in a spot where they can do anything about it. They have to abandon it immediately. The mortality comes out as well. Not really stunning. RQT goes into the laser beam, and everybody is just rolling up. Yeah. We have Sim Wall. Is it enough to keep everybody up? Wait, this actually might be huge. The Sim Wall might save everybody. Oh, nope, never mind. Luca finds JC. Yeah. Nope. I was about to say, Raygun could do something, but the Sim Wall just absolutely destroys any hope that Raygun has in getting, like, any coordination on any picks.
Oof. They are not hitting anyone with that wall.
Yeah, it's a big denial wall. Oof. Tagides is showing some dominance here. I think, like, with where this is going, looking like maybe a 2-2 into a final map.
Yeah, this is very close.
Woo! Getting some water. Stay hydrated, kids.
From the first round, I'm gonna say that Raygun have this, but he is actually coming back very hard.
Yeah. Oh boy. I, just like you, had the same thing. I was like, wow, Raygun did great. And then Tagides comes out and stomps them with this macro and the way they're positioning their Bastion with the speed. It's not even like a completely new comp. It's just a different flavor of Pengalix on Bastion again. And they're just more coordinated with how they walk up with a Ram instead of on Orisa, right? Because he can actually shield and right-click alive. The difference is crazy with like one pick with Ymir swapping. This really is such a tank game.
Yeah, this match is... Yeah, you're right. This match is very tank heavy and also DPS heavy. Because the supports just... both supports from both teams are very good at healing, I say.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
The winning decider is on the hands of tanks and DPS on this matchup, I say.
Yeah, basically the supports are doing as much as they can, like, you know, getting maximum efficiency. So it's just how much more we can get out of the DPS and the tank, because the supports are doing their best to keep everybody alive, and there's a lot of damage going around, especially with Bastion, Window, speed to save people, to run away, immortality to keep people up. Like, there's a lot of damage going around. But we have a lot of space being respected here. Cookiezi walking up, or sorry, not Cookiezi. I have Ray Gun walking up pretty easily. Oh, Cookiezi hovering underneath. An interesting spot to hold here. I don't know if it's going to last though.
Yeah, but the main wall saves them from the high ground press. So...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, RQT very smartly putting up that wall so they can take some damage. Ooh, Bastion taking shift form and going pretty aggressively in front of. Oh my god, nice wall in front of.
You got solo here.
Yeah, beautiful. And we have Mei using shift early. They might get punished for this. They're playing right here. They're kind of isolated. Oh my god. Yeah, Saga punishing RQT for their transgressions. JC following up with that flux. Yeah, nice. I have Ray Gun. Very slow and steady, but you still took that fight. Great. RQT going a little bit too far, isolating from the team. And Lucio was ready to capitalize on that. Ooh,
this will be an overtime push here. For
yeah, let's see how
Ray Gun.
far. Yeah. We have taken Wallet back on the Widow, right? We might be able to see some massive picks here in the start. Get something big, but it's going to be a lot harder to ram. Ooh, and the window comes out so early. The point is captured in overtime.
And JC that, this, yeah.
Yeah, going down to Luca, taking a Wallet, Pangalix. Fine too. Whew, okay. At least first point, right? They capped
First
it.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, getting this point is actually huge here because if not, Tahiti will just hold on the high ground there. So, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think they're gonna use to hold that high ground? They're gonna stick on the same comp?
Probably Tahiti Reagan will stick to their previous defense comp with the second wall the Widow. Wait. Yeah.
Taken Wallet was on Raygun's team and doing very well, getting those picks. I don't know. I mean, we may see them again, but seeing as they're on attack this time. Oh, they decided to go for maybe a Echo. I don't know. But we have back on the old teleport speed, the Bastion. Drat Gitas running the same comp as before, and they have a lot of time.
Yeah, but JC playing JQ here, maybe they will rush first and play close to the Tahiti spawn.
Playing close is probably the only strat they can do, really, because otherwise they only got one good fight in.
Correct. And now,
if they don't,
second wall trying to get some damage and got 11% percentage. Very good.
Oh, TP right in the face. They do block it. Oh, but the bakery. Luca getting left behind and killed by the bakery even. Unfortunate. Oh, but there's trades all around. Even okay, the TP did go off in time. We're to get these picks here. And Ymir's walking up, not afraid to take on this Echo. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, at least they got that first fight in, like you said. You know, it wasn't two. It wasn't one.
Yeah. So this will be the. Yeah, maybe we can get 3 fights out of this, but if we're lucky, we can get 3 fights.
I mean, we're probably gonna get 2 in a really long, drawn-out one, or 1.5 drawn-out ones, you know. But we'll see where it goes because we're having some ults. No, never mind. There's no ults from anybody, so it just depends on who can stay alive.
No,
Raygun needs to push in really hard here, and that's gonna be difficult because they might be scared by the Sim teleport. But it's already down. Mirror's forced to right click in front of everybody. That is a lot of damage here. Oh, but yeah, Bastion just walks forward with that shift. Just melts people. Oh,
Take them all down.
Yeah.
Let's see who else is down. Oh, JC
okay.
killing Pangolix. Okay.
That's great. That's a great pick from I have Raygun. Yep, Ymir goes next though. Finds Saga, which their supports. Oh, but level 3 beat is built. Yeah. Valiant effort on the whole, but really just the shield in front of a Bastion is just too strong.
So Taken all tries to touch, but RQT finishes it.
Alright, so we have Cookiezi taking this map to make it 2-2. Exactly. First to 3, everybody. This will be the last one. Whoever wins this next one will be the champion of this match. Not afraid to challenge the Widow right there. Pengulic showing off that Bastion tracking. Sheesh. Nice.
Some nice play of the game for Pengulic.
Yeah. Pengulic showing off their Bastion stuff. I like that we had a bit of an arc. At least they tried, play other heroes, but then they ended up going back to Bastion and making it work out for them with the Sim TV strat. I feel like they do that a lot. This doesn't seem like their first time playing that kind of comp.
Obviously, yeah, for sure, because the macro that they got, how well coordinated Tahitis with that comp is very telling that they don't play that comp for the first time here.
Yeah, for sure. They're very comfortable with it, and just the way that that Pengulic would run forward with the Ramatra shield, right, and then shift right in front of it. That shield is actually surprisingly strong. I can't remember exactly how much health it has, but when it's going up, I want to say it doesn't get broken down unless there's a Bastion on it, right? So that is a really good cover for Pengulic to walk forward and just take space, take names, take shots, and just destroys the enemy team. Like, Raygon didn't really stand a chance. Their Echo went down in that last fight. They just burned through the squishies. Even their tank, right? JQ had to go to the side, take cover. It's just a lot of spray. So unless I have Raygun finds a way to counter the Pengulic's Bastion support, I don't see how they're going to take it. I don't know what they have to run. If you have any comps in mind?
No ideas. No idea for now. Because Esperanza is very good also for the same rush with the Ram.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
Yeah.
A push map, if it looks like, since it is Esperanza. I mean, maybe they can dive with a Diva in order to get on top of the Bastion, right?
Yeah, maybe. Ooh, this is
tough.
not looking good for Raygun because they never played Esperanza before. Okay.
I'm seeing now. Those are the 3 maps. Yep, and then this is their record. Okay. I'm Giga Brain. I'm picking it up. I'm starting to learn. It only took the 4th map before I understood the assignment. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we don't know if it'll be Esperanza, I think, or we do. You know what? Maybe I'm not learning that fast.
It is. I think it is Esperanza right now.
Right. Okay, because they locked it in and they just showed underneath. Yeah. Don't worry, Pachimari. I'm learning live. Smart.
Fun fact, actually, I just learned that the Tahitis logo actually spells Tahitis.
Oh, does it? In what language? That's awesome.
It's not just some random flowers. It's actually a C. Yeah. I thought it's just pretty flowers. But no, it's actually their name.
Dude, whoever designs these things, like, can I get a referral? That's sick. I want to see more of their designs. Where's the name? Give me an @ on Twitter. Do you have any @ Fatal? Caster Master? Anywhere you want to plug yourself?
No, I got no insight info on this one.
Yeah, all I have is Twitch too. I just stream. I don't do any Twitter or anything. I am off of that not very nice place. That's a very place. Yeah. But hey, we're at a great place now. We're on push on the very last match between a very even 2 teams.
Calling you out now, and you're feeding your own
Welcome back, everybody, to more coverage of the Bad Pachamari League Rock Rumble playoffs. My name is Bowsy. I'm joined here by Spaffles. It is time to tackle the first match of the quarterfinals here, Spaffles, and it's ChatIsThisReal versus the Shogunate.
Hey, I mean, two very well-accomplished teams here coming out victorious from their first rounds in this tournament tonight. I'm looking pretty forward to seeing how they're going to be able to perform, seeing how dominant both of the teams have been, and especially the Shogunate being the second seed, having not dropped any maps so far in this tournament, going 6-1 total on the way here in the Swiss stage.
Yeah, only one map drops there for the Shogunate in the Swiss stage, so they have definitely had one of the best seasons. They also took down the Dukes of Arrakis, who had the lowest amount of money left at the end of the auction draft, so they are a threat for the title as it stands right now. ChatIsThisReal, on the other hand, while they did lose that one match to High Five earlier in the Swiss stage, they have never dropped a map outside of that series, so it's going to be interesting to see if they have any competition here for the Shogunate and can try to take down probably one of the biggest favorites to winning this entire tournament.
Yep. Now, while we are looking at these teams, how about we head into the rosters? I'm really interested in seeing who's going to be playing for both the teams tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good talent across the board if you are a BPL veteran. On ChatIsThisReal, you have Worst Cast, who was the captain, recruiting people such as Tegugen, Turget, Triggered, Jupiter, Painless, and Chamorin. Meanwhile, on the Shogunate, Crowbar and Cypher coming up on the tank line with Shoreline Pie, Crow, Moonbunny, Silvertall, and Skips. All of those people being, of course, drafted by the wonderful Shoreline Pie on that DPS. So there is a lot of talent on these rosters, and there's also some people on the Shogunate who are definitely going to be off-rolling, considering Shoreline Pie is the only DPS player.
Yeah, well, funny that you mentioned that Shoreline Pie is the only DPS player, right? Because DPS is such an influential role, especially ever since Season 9 and the introduction of the DPS passive. Seeing how the players are able to apply the DPS passive consistently and be able to secure the kills and work together with their tank, that's really what separates and makes the difference between a solid team in its own right and an amazing team. And seeing how the Shogunate have performed so far, I'm really interested in seeing how they're able to make that dynamic work.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if the Shogunate are able to keep that dynamic into their own here, as we're about to head into our first map of the series, picked by the Shogunate, and it is Nepal to start off the series here. This was the match. This was the same map that they chose just earlier today in their first round of the bracket stage. So we'll have to see if they're able to take up this continue this currently undefeated record they have on this map.
Yep, they're going to just try and push their advantage as far as possible, and starting off with their own map pick, bringing it to Nepal, where they did succeed with a 2-0 lead earlier. This is going to be looking like a pretty strong opening from them. They're trying to keep the momentum going. I'm going to be interested in seeing how ChatIsThisReal decides to amp things up, and if they're going to be bringing their A game, especially map 1 control. We've seen how teams... It's a really make or break moment for a lot of them going into the start of the series.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how ChatIsReal responds to this. Of course, they have only played one control map all season, because in the Swiss stage, control was your third map type, meaning ChatIsThisReal did not play control up until just earlier today, their first map of their first bracket stage. So we'll see if what they have prepared here for Nepal, what they're going to try to think about here, what the team is currently strategizing on, as we're heading up to the hills of the Himalayas to start off this series between these two juggernauts of teams. And already getting an early look at the compositions here on the village, Spaffles, we're starting to notice a little bit of a difference between what these two teams are going to be running in terms of one factor, but not so much in terms of the others.
Yeah, if any of our diligent viewers have been paying attention, especially yesterday to the BPL 2 stream, you'll know Tegugen is a really, really good Reinhardt player. A big fan of the big German in the mighty armor, and bringing that into a meta, especially when Orisa is just so strong and Shogunate are going to be piloting them, is a really big display of confidence in your main tank, and looking forward to that. Otherwise, the only other differences that we're seeing between the compositions is going to be Jupiter on the Moira versus the Kiriko, which offers its own strengths and differences, mainly the healing output that's going to be required to keep Tegugen alive, especially since Reinhardt, he just soaks up that damage like it's nothing.
Yeah, Reinhardt has been criticized as the Overwatch 1 tank that did not adapt well to Overwatch 2 because, I mean, half of the time, you're just holding up this big rectangle and not able to do any sort of aggression, but ChatIsThisReal still want to try to invest into it, but it's going to be hard to invest into it when you're already down your support. To Crow getting the first blood in this fight, getting rid of Jupiter to begin, and now it's just the Shogunate piling on top of ChatIsReal. Now without Turget getting an exit kill, but it's still the Shogunate taking the point.
Yep, pretty clean fight there from the Shogunate, all things considered. Shoreline Pi did fall, and is going to be making the swap over to Bash, and that's just a lot more damage, trying to make Tekogen's life hell. We're going to see a counter swap from Jupiter, and a swap from Tekogen as well, not showing that same amount of tenacity that we've grown to expect from him. Instead, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that flexibility, going to have that mobility, try and ebb in and out, and try and bait those cooldowns as he goes. Jupiter, as well, onto the Kiriko, just trying to use that Suzu, this incredibly powerful cooldown, to make sure that Tekogen doesn't get caught out, doesn't get bursted, he's able to live to fight another day.
As Crow looks for the backline here on that venture, they're going to be able to find the kill onto their adversary in Turgets. So now the Shogunate have a very good advantage, but they do lose their Bastion of Shoreline Pi. Crow's going to try to bring it back here with the Tectonic Shock, and they do get rid of Tekogen on that Doomfist, but the point is flipped over for ChatIsThisReal, as now the Shogunate have to try and clean up the remains and take back the point into their favor.
Yep, nice job there from the Shogunate. But also, even though they did end up losing the fight, ChatIsThisReal had a pretty good engage. They were able to capture the points and make sure that they stopped the bleeding, even if just for a little bit, buying themselves more time and potentially an extra fight by the end of the round. Now, heading into the next fight, though, Silvertails and Crowbar do both have their ultimates available. Meanwhile, ChatIsThisReal are just struggling to build up that beat. Hopefully, they're going to be having it soon, as that's going to be their massive playmaking ultimate that they're going to need to use next fight.
Tekogen is going to try to stall out the point meanwhile, but Lunar is already taken out of the equation here by Crow before the fight even begins. And now the Shogunate, pretty much with that one simple kill, have basically thrust this into last fight territory, though Tekogen is again going to steal the point here, meaning the Shogunate are going to lose some valuable progress.
Yep, Tekogen's incredibly pesky. Now, Tectonic Shock and a double beat for both teams kicking off the fight.
It's going to be back and forth thus far. The Shogunate trying to take back this point while ChatIsThisReal trying to hold on to it. But now Painless is taken out of the equation early here. The Katsunuras from Jupiter is used, but Silvertails' Kitsune is just a little bit better as the Shogunate clean up the remains and now thrust themselves into one fight territory to take the first point.
Yep, that was yet again just another repeat of the fights that we've seen so far. Even though it was an ultimate party, we still did see the Shogunate, their dominance, continue to reign through. And now with the ultimate economy leading through, they're going to have Tectonic Shock as well as Bastion's Barrage to kind of wrap up this point in a nice little bow tie. Right now, they do not have a Tracer, so they're not going to be able to negate that pressure onto the point, but it looks like they're going to be bringing the fight to ChatIsThisReal, though.
Yeah, the Shogunate trying to push right into the side of ChatIsThisReal, and all the damage coming in onto that Junker Queen of Tekogen is not enough. Shoreline Pi finding 4 in this fight, looking for the ace onto Lunar as they're chasing them down, but it's Moon Bunny to steal it away as the Shogunate take the first point here on Nepal, 100-34.
Man, that was a round of all time. Seeing the way that Shogunate were able to play around the fights. All they really needed was to keep winning the fights, and they performed. They put so much trust into Crow, into Shoreline Pi, and their ability to get those picks, and it just paid off in the long run. And even though ChatIsThisReal were able to make those pesky plays, or were able to flip the point a couple times, it ultimately didn't amount to anything as they weren't really able to secure those team fights in their favor. Now, heading into our next point, it does look like we're going to be seeing a little bit of a swap. Tekogen on the Junker Queen, although it was used before to come back to the point with a strong, non-ultimate based kit, it looks like he is going to be rolling back out with it. And Lunar going to follow up as well with the Tracer. Meanwhile, on the side of the Shogunate, we're going to see a pretty static composition.
Yeah, the Shogunate, however, already in the disadvantage. The teleporter from Shoreline Pi only went about maybe 2 meters instead of the ideal 20. So now the Shogunate have to rush into the side of ChatIsThisReal. Crow just trying to dig up. Does, however, set up the kill onto Turget here to start off the fight as Lunar is looking in the backline on this Tracer. Forced to recall as this venture can just provide so much damage in a short amount of time. Crow going to be hiding in the burrows looking to try and stop the members of ChatIsThisReal as the Shogunate are going to take the point first.
And these winding pathways, especially on the cliffside, is just so advantageous for Venture, being able to weave in and out and make sure that they are completely in command of their engagement ranges and threatening as well, with the chance of people getting knocked off the map. That is incredibly significant, though. ChatIsThisReal bringing the fight over to the point, trying to get another flip as they have been, but it is going to be stopped by the Venture for now.
Yeah, Crow is there to contest the point, as now ChatIsThisReal trying to look for any sort of advantage. TekuGen trying to continue to throw that Jagged Blade into any target, but so far has found jack nothing right now. Now, however, Lunar is going to get the first pick, as Jupiter's trying to keep this Junker Queen of TekuGen alive in this small hut. The Shogunate, however, are keeping the doors closed. Crow is trying to keep away Painless from the objective, as they're getting burned down. They will eventually die to the hands of Turget here. Now the Coalescence from Jupiter just pushing into the enemy team and eliminating Crowbar on the site, as ChatIsThisReal cleaning up the field and getting the point for their own.
Yep, there you go. That's their first fight win, believe it or not, this map. And it was a pretty good one. All they really had to expend was the Coalescence. They were able to completely take control of the point. Now, with the progress bar ticking up, the pressure is put on Shogunate. They have to, for the first time this series, get active. They have to get in there, and they have to make plays happen, though. To assist, though, the Terror Surge pops off early and catches 4, getting a nice early kill onto Painless.
Yeah, definitely early kills there from the side of the Shogunate. Silvertall is traded, however, so now they are down one of their key support players. TekuGen trying to stay alive in the corner with Jupiter in their back pocket, trying to stay alive as much as possible with very little health left to their mains. But now that Jupiter's gone, TekuGen is quick to follow, and the Shogunate are going to be taking this quick point back as quickly as they enter the fight.
Yep, that side room, they thought it was going to be their salvation, but it ended up being their tomb, tossed around by the Orisa and the Venture. Junker Queen wasn't even able to touch the point again. And now the fight is being brought out forward to ChatIsThisReal spawn, where they're going to try and delay their progress as much as possible. Shogunate, with really good ultimate economy, they're able to conserve most of their ults from that last fight, leading into a pretty strong fight this time around.
As ChatIsThisReal take this right side approach, trying to push right in to the side of the Shogunate and already disrupt their positioning here. Shoreline Pie is going to initiate here with the overclock, and that rampage from TekuGen just gets shut out entirely. No one landed with that anti-grenade because of that ultimate, and now with TekuGen gone, it's going to be difficult for ChatIsThisReal to come back into this, as the Shogunate are just pushing right into their faces here. Painless quick to follow to the hands of that Venture, and now Crowbar getting rid of Turget, and now ChatIsThisReal needs stagger efforts to try and keep this alive.
Man, oh man, I really want to know what actually happened with Lunar, the way that they fell off the map in the early fight. That was really unfortunate, though. They are able to get a bit of a stall in and make sure that the overtime tick does begin, but unfortunately for them, no more members of ChatIsThisReal are able to touch the point, and that gives the first map of this series over to Shogunate.
Yeah, there was an attempt there from TekuGen to touch the point, but an Orisa is a brick wall, and you can't really do anything about that when the Orisa is an Olympic competer, hitting those javelin shots perfectly, as well as being able to just knock you around to the other side of the map. But really, it seems like the Shogunate just have ChatIsThisReal's number, and they're just able to take these advantages when it matters the most here, Spaffle. So we'll see if ChatIsThisReal is able to try and recover as this series goes on. But for now, the Shogunate looking pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in seeing what the kind of conversations are that are going on behind the scenes getting into this next map, especially seeing just the kind of plays that Shogunate were able to execute on. It just felt like they had complete free reign, they had the keys to the castle, and there was not really much that could have been done to stop them.
Yeah, definitely. It was probably with the back of this Venture play from Crow. Crow definitely has had the Venture diff in this matchup, just completely annihilating their adversaries pretty much every step of the way. And then you do Shoreline Pie dirty like that? Come on, my replay observers. You can't just do that to the opposing DPS. All of these highlights have been Crow, and then you show Shoreline Pie getting that teleporter. Also, there's your answer to what happened to Lunar there, just recalling into the wrong spot. So,
man,
I mean, definitely.
Man, that is tragic.
It is indeed tragic, so definitely some bad luck there for ChatIsThisReal. The bad luck is indeed real, it seems, for them right now. But now, they're heading into map number 2, and we'll have to see if they're going to be able to try and take an advantage here on Hybrid, which has been, I mean, I'm not going to say it, Spaffles, but last series that Shogunate played in, it was a 3-2 scoreline on Hybrid with the Brazil Uprising taking them all the way on that map. The Brazil Uprising 2, I would say one of the bottom seeds in this tournament. I don't want to say it out loud, but at the same time, they were at the bottom.
All right, so I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down here. So you're kind of leading me on to think that maybe this is the crack in the armor of the Shogunate so far, and potentially we could be seeing some kind of plays that come through, especially seeing how dominant ChatIsThisReal were on their first hybrid map as well, where they did end up taking Blizzard World 3-1.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if ChatIsThisReal has something in their back pocket to try and take advantage of this series here up against the Shogunate. As we take a look at those hybrid stats, of course, both of these teams have only played one hybrid map this season because hybrid was not possible within the within the Swiss stage. So obviously not a lot to go off of here, but 1-0 for the Shogunate, 1-0 for ChatIsThisReal on Eichenwald and Blizzard World, respectively. So no matter what, someone is losing their first hybrid match of the season.
Yep, somebody will be, and I just have a good feeling about the kind of match that we're about to go into, because going from control to hybrid, that is a very different kind of game style. Control is all about going fast, getting control of the point, and then just brawling out to your heart's content. Meanwhile, hybrid, which is going to be ChatIsThisReal's pick, is just going to be it's going to be a lot more pace-based. You're going to have to extend your fights over a longer period of time, and getting those incremental advantages, I want to see, do they really have it in the bag?
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see if the Shogunate have it in the bag here, as we are heading over to King's Row for our map pick. If this says anything to me, Spaffles, it says two things: Tekugen, Reinhardt.
Oh man, you just got me excited with those two words alone. To say those words to anybody, and I don't think they'll be able to keep a straight face. I mean, Reinhardt, King's Row, those have grown synonymous over the years, and just seeing them play it, I'm so excited.
It'll be interesting to see what the plan is here from ChatIsThisReal going to King's Row, because again, as that graphic just showed, they have not played King's Row the entirety of the season, so this will be both teams' first expenditure into the United Kingdom. So we'll see what the answer is going to be here from ChatIsThisReal to try and even up the series, and if the Shogunate can be faster than it and be able to bring themselves into match point to try and move on to the semifinals.
Yep, and look, I'm not going to call anything too early. I don't want to cast or curse anything, but I think that this map is really just going to depend on that tank dynamic and the way that they're going to be able to trade that space, and how Tekugen is going to lead the charge with the Reinhardt, as this is their map pick. They have been practiced so much on it. They're going to be coming out with the strats, and just seeing the way that Shogunate are going to be able to respond and what kind of picks they're going to be able to take, it's going to be really interesting, because so far this season, especially in the professional level, we haven't really seen too many teams sticking to those rigid team comps where it's Orisa, Sojourn, Tracer, Mirror. We've seen a lot more variety, we've seen a lot more counter picks, and seeing those, like, that extra level of flavor, that extra flair that a lot of these teams do bring to the table with all the variety of their experiences and their picks. That's, what Overwatch is all about.
Absolutely, as we load into the tried and true King's Row here for our second map of the series. The Shogunate on the defense here, and they're showing a different style. We're seeing them on the Sigma here, with Cypher being subbed in here on that tank role. So we'll see if this is what they are thinking of. Also, I believe Skip's coming in here for Crow on that support line. So obviously there is a requirement to run all of your players here in this tournament. So ChatIsThisReal and Shogunate making some swaps. I also noticed that Tekugen is not in. Wolfcast is in.
Man, that is a bit of a bummer though, but worst casts, maybe they are the key. Maybe they are that breath of fresh air that ChatIsThisReal is going to need. We're going to open up with Turget on the Widowmaker, just trying to find any quick swaps. No, not really going to find any Violet plays where the Baptiste is, jumping in the air in the middle of the point. They're going to make the swap pretty quickly over to their regular picks.
Yep, as ChatIsThisReal are trying to take this rush initiative into the Shogunate here. The Sigma of Cypher going a little bit too far out of their reach, just barely able to stay alive as Shoreline Pie on that Bastion, doing Shoreline Pie things and just trying to burn down the opposition in their wake. Turget tries to go into the back line to try and find anything there with that Venture, but so far has just found their way back to the exit point. As right now it's just a poking game, but Cypher dropping extremely low, forcing out that Immortality Field from Silvertals early, and now that Baptiste is completely removed from the equation. So is the Lucio Lucio of Skips as Target is lighting up the kill feed late in this fight and cleaning it up for ChatIsThisReal.
Man, that game of attrition is just so brutal. Cypher, just his health getting forced down so low and the immortality getting forced so early really created that moment, created that play, and Target was there to execute on it. And being able to recognize that happening and continue forward and continue keeping the pressure up onto Cypher, that's exactly what you want to see going into this the rest of this map.
The Shogunate, however, will be able to hold here at these arches, so now the ChatIsThisReal have to have a very tough mold that they have to break through. With Crowbar coming into the backline, trying to find an early pickoff already here. They're forced to try and dig to the team, but they run straight into a brick wall. You can't dig through that if you're a venture player. Target using that tectonic shock as well, trying to clean up the field as it's a back and forth affair, literally. Cypher and Shoreline Pie versus Chamoran and Wars. Painless is also back in the fight. They're going to get the Lucio win over Cypher here, and now all this up to Shoreline Pie, who's going to be running for the lights all the way back to the Wild West as ChatIsThisReal continue their push.
Yeah, that red and blue, the back and forth trading, it's all good and all, but when you have an equal numbers advantage, the attacking team, especially with their spawn rooms so close, they're just going to have the advantage, and eventually you're going to have to end up retreating. Now, that was a decent amount of a time sink for Shogunate as they're trying to make up for all that lost time where they weren't defending the first point. Now, Shoreline Pie, though, rounding the corner, getting those nice little dinks onto the Junker Queen, but a Rampage opens up the fight.
Yeah, beautiful Rampage there from Worst, going right into the back line, and they're able to get rid of Silvertalls, but their support line is dead as a result, so they have to make this fight work into their favor as much as they can. Crow coming up with that dig, trying to keep Target away from the ground as they're able to kill out Skips, but now all that's left is Chamoran on this Tracer, trying to bring it back all by their lonesome. They do get rid of Crow, but have to retreat out of the fight here as they only have half of their health, and now Sigma is currently standing in their wake, but eventually once they regroup with their Lucio of Painless, they're going to be rushing right on top of Cypher and continuing this cart push.
Yep, there you go. Off of the back of Worst Cast's Rampage, they were able to get some early picks. However, Skips' Beats was just ready and available to cancel it out. So then Shogunate ended up taking the advantage, and now heading into this fight, we're going to see Painless pop the beat early.
Yep, the Deadeye also forced here from Shoreline Pie, trying to find anything in sight, but isn't able to find any sort of shots to hit with. And Chamoran hit in the head and then dug up from below. Probably the worst amount of pain that you could feel as a Tracer player in this moment of Overwatch. Target, however, gets the trade-off, gets rid of Skips and Cypher. Now Painless is removed. It's a back-and-forth affair yet again, but Silvertalls sitting comfortably on this high ground, and Crow is still taking names on this venture, continuing to rampage across the field of ChatIsThisReal as the Shogunate continues some sort of hold here, but the card is still moving. Target has to try, Crow has to try and touch, and they aren't able to do it unless it's with their dead body, as ChatIsThisReal are going to be pushing into the underworld.
Yep, kicking butt and taking names. That's what we like to see. Those venture players, they have been so impactful in this matchup so far. It feels like the Crow and Turgut show, seeing them go back and forth all this time. But now that things are rounding the last corner with 4 minutes remaining, that is so much time for ChatIsThisReal. This is an unreal amount of form for them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're able to continue pushing this advantage forward.
After Nepal, we really must be asking if this is indeed real here from ChatIsThisReal, but finally the Shogunate are showing up. Worst, Target, and Painless all dead here. A Shoreline Pie coming up in the kill feed multiple times in that fight, as the Shogunate now going to be holding this cart with 3.5 minutes.
Yep, there you go. That was the break that they needed, and now they're going to be able to completely halt ChatIsThisReal's assaults, and they're going to be able to sort of rebalance everything. It's been a pretty consistent forward momentum from Chat this entire time, but a Rampage cracking the fight wide open, going to be followed up by an Immortality.
Yeah, definitely. The Immortality is there, and the rest of ChatIsThisReal wasn't, because Crow is in the backline trying to separate Jupiter from the rest, and now that Kiriko is out of the equation entirely, so now all you have is Painless for your Lucio heals, but the kills are still there from the side of ChatIsThisReal. That Rampage still coming to perfect effect and keeping them in the engage.
Yep, getting that cart moving, that's so good. Chamoran, though, whiffs the pulse bomb. Gonna get a lot of pressure down, and Silvertalls, oh my god, that is the worst member to lose so early on into a fight, and now without a lot of that healing power on your team, you're gonna have to stall this out just a little bit longer.
Yeah, ChatIsThisReal, however, still looking for an engagement opportunity as the rest of their team is not fully coordinated together here. So there will be some time here for the Shogunate to restabilize themselves, as here comes the push in from ChatIsThisReal. Deadeye from Shoreline Pie, finding Painless and Target in an instant. And now that shuts out all the push potential from ChatIsThisReal.
Yep, there you go. When they stop them good. And Shogunate off the back of Shoreline Pie. That's the second double kill High Noon we've seen so far. How does this person do it? It's just incredible.
It's unknown how they're able to do it. We'll have to ask chat for that one later, as currently both ventures are looking for an opportunity. Crow has constantly tried to pull this backline maneuver to try and solo someone out, and this time it's the 175 health Tracer of Chamoran who is suspect to it all, and that basically just shuts out any potential for a push here from ChatIsThisReal, as the Shogunate are pushing right to the spawn doors trying to get these late kills.
Yeah, late kill they will find, as Turget does fall pretty late to Crow, proving their dominance once again in the Venture matchup. Now, heading into the next fight, which could potentially be one of our last, we're going to be seeing a lot of ultimates on the side of Shogunate ready and prepared to stop ChatIsThisReal's push. They're going to have the beat, they're going to have the window, as well as the tectonic shock ready to go.
So we'll see if those ultimates from ChatIsThisReal will get them in, or the ults from the Shogunate will keep them in the defense here. ChatIsThisReal having a very similar ult bank of their own. They also now have a Doomfist from Worst Overwatch player. Unfortunately, though, they punched right into a rock, and they cannot level that, even though they can level a skyscraper. And the Gravitic Flux from Cypher just sends all of ChatIsThisReal back into the grave.
Yeah, just knocking Doomfist down out of that empowered punch with the rock, and then Venture popping from below. That is just such a good combo, and that took off so much of that HP, even though Doom is a tank, and we just saw him melt like butter. Now, heading in here, we got 30 seconds left, and this is looking like it's going to be, well, the last fight. With an Orisa pick from Worst Casts, things are starting to bunker down a little bit.
Absolutely. Shogunate need to try and settle this here if they want to stop this card, as the amplification matrix is used from Silvertals and Painless already removed from the equation. Jupiter also gone, so now ChatIsThisReal have no supports left in the tank, trying to keep themselves alive, but it's going to be difficult. Turget, however, finds two in the backline, but it doesn't matter. Crow is just different on the Venture, cleaning up the field, as no one from ChatIsThisReal is going to be there to touch. Painless is going to be the closest, and they're not destined for this world, as they are not going to be able to touch that cart once more. And when another 2K Deadeye from Shoreline Pie, the cart will stop in the middle of the underworld.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up that defense with another nice bow on top. That's the third 2K High Noon. Just making sure that against all odds, there is absolutely 0% chance that anyone from ChatIsThisReal is able to touch. Now, that may be a little bit concerning for you chatters out there who are fans of ChatIsThisReal, but let me remind you how dominant they were in the first half of this map. And if they are able to bring that form back, if they're able to demonstrate their expertise again on the first and second points, then third might not be too much of a thing to worry about.
Absolutely. So you just need to get yourself rekindled here if you are ChatIsThisReal. So we'll see if they're able to get that monetization back into their favor. We'll see if they're able to try and get all of that ad revenue back, as they're coming out on the defense with the exact same style we saw the Shogunate on, with this sort of poke style. Worst going over to the Sigma, while the rest of the team remains unchanged.
Yep, so those picks, just making sure that the more defensive attributes of Sigma are going to be very, very impactful, and kind of or restabilizing themselves after Cypher just did so much work on the Sig themselves. Those rocks, they were just expertly placed, as well as Shoreline Pie just wailing on the team. Having a barrier there will be very, very nice in an attempt to kind of slow down all those headshots, reduce as much damage as possible leading into this next part.
So now the Shogunate coming out on this attack with a very similar look on their defense, and already Target trying to set up a perfect sort of attack onto Cypher, drilling them in, saying, hey, you want to push in? Here you go, here's a little bit of an assist to do that. ChatIsThisReal, however, unable to get that initial kill as a result of that, as now they're trying to keep themselves stabilized here, but the Shogunate have already bursted their way through the doors.
Yeah, all the HP bars so low for the side of Shogunate, but they're not going to be able to get taken down just yet. Both immortality fields down, and it looks like Turget is going to go in and looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, Target trying to go in aggressively with this Venture here. Has to use the drill dash to try and get out, however, as they are hit with an accretion there from Cypher. Even though they do like burrowing underground, rocks are their biggest enemy. But now you have Crow going up to the high ground and getting rid of Chamoran, the main DPS threat for ChatIsThisReal, out of the equation. Now the main healer threat gone. Crow may be removed from the equation, but the damage has been done now that Worst is gone. Just Shogunate looking in prime position to take this objective.
Yep, trading those kills back and forth. Dude, that play from Crow was so beautiful. Burrowing down onto the point, trying to contest, bait a false sense of security from ChatIsThisReal, and then popping up from the burrow and just immediately diving onto the Sojourn on the high ground. That was expertly played from Crow, and just the execution, beautiful. A plus 10 out of 10.
So now ChatIsThisReal are going to be holding right at these arches where the Shogunate were able to hold before. Crow already dropping extremely low, just barely able to keep themselves alive, thanks in part to those adaptive shields that Venture gains as they use their abilities. But still, ChatIsThisReal trying to hold close, and now that Shoreline Pie is removed, it's going to be even easier here for the ChatIsThisReal to keep it going. But as I say that, Jupiter is removed. Target is forced to use this Tectonic Shock to clean up the field, but Crow gets the better of their adversary here on this Venture, continuing to light up the kill feed when it matters and keeping the Shogunate engaged in this fight.
Yeah, just the amount of how perfectly balanced this team fight is.
Oh.
Secure there with the high noon. Not quite able to find that. The pipe did save their life just for a little bit longer, but they did end up getting taken down eventually. Now Shogunate are going to be able to extend their lead as far as possible, just sprinting it towards ChatIsThisReal spawn, as they know that they have the Graviton Flux. They know that they have the window, and they are going to have so much pressure, even though the beat is going to be up for the side of ChatIsThisReal.
Here comes that Gravitic Flux from Cypher. Painless is going to initiate here with the beat to try and keep everybody alive, but you already see those health pools dropping extremely low, so low that the Immortality Field had to be forced by Jupiter. However, Turget looking for value in the backline. They're just going to be killed out by Cypher, but Skips is removed as a result. So the Shogunate now are down their speed boost. They have to run in with neutral speed here as ChatIsThisReal still looking for the advantage, but now that overclock is shut down by Crow yet again, it's going to be difficult for them to really find that sort of advantage that they're looking for. Jupiter, however, is still alive on the Baptiste, but as I say that, Crow continues to just drill in the fact that they are the best Venture in this matchup.
You know what they say about Crows? They are a sign, they are a bad omen, they are a sign of death, and Crow is just that and more. Seeing those expert plays, booping the Baptiste up into the air further after they're coming down from the super jump so they can't get the immortality. Those are the kind of plays you need to see. Venture, what a character.
Yeah, absolutely. Crow has mastered this new character to absolute perfection. We'll have to see if they're able to keep that positioning up as they're currently set up on the high ground looking for the dive, and they find Painless out in the open. Shoreline Pie going for a dive. However, Crow is able to get the trade onto Painless, and now that Tectonic Shock in use, finding 2 kills with it onto Jupiter and Chamoran, and all the kills going blue in the kill feed. And now the Shogunate only a little bit away from that golden box of victory as Shoreline Pie has disconnected.
Yup, just the map absolutely swallowed them up, and that's going to be a quick disconnect. We're going to be running it into a pause, though. I don't think that Shoreline Pie was even really needed as they got those, quick picks in. Yep, there you go. Shoreline Pie is back in the map. They're just kicking things off as soon as possible. Got that nice ults on reconnect. It doesn't even matter. It wouldn't have impacted anything as the Shogunate take map 2.
And now the Shogunate thrust themselves into match point here to move on to the semifinals. Crow calling it a tactical pause, but at the end of the day, it's just the Shogunate being able to demonstrate this Venture to absolute perfection. Even though it is Turget getting the play of the game, it definitely feels like that Crow is the best Venture we have seen in this matchup thus far here, Spaffles, and they are completely writing the script of how the Shogunate are going to try to take this victory.
Yep, MVP and SVB respectively have just got to be those 2 Venture players. They made their presence so well known, and it almost felt like none of the team fights were just left unimpacted by their skill. Getting those burrows and getting the drill dashes onto the backlane, even if they weren't able to secure a kill, which they found so many of, just that presence, that pressure, being able to force members of the opposing team back because they know they cannot do anything to the burrowed Ventures is just so valuable in its own right.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems like the Ventures have been making a difference in this matchup. Target has been able to show up, but I think honestly Crow has also been able to just make a difference overall. Shoreline Pie, after basically getting a bad highlight in that last map, unfortunately getting the teleporter from 2 meters away, does get redemption here with multiple high noon kills, but at the end of the day, the Shogunate still looking like a dominant force to be reckoned with here. And now that they're at match point, ChatIsThisReal are backed into another corner here, Spaffles, and now they are in desperation mode trying to take that advantage. Here's that kill that Crow got to initiate that first engage here as well. for the side of the Shogunate on that first point, and definitely was the difference maker. yeah, that's you can't ignore that.
It's not a highlight reel if you don't do Shoreline Pie dirty at least once, right? Anyways, now leading us into the next map, though, we're gonna get the grand new game mode. Sorry, got a little bit of a slip up there, but we're going to be going over to Clash Hanaoka, the revisit to Hanamura, kind of located right next to the original map. It's going to be a blazing fast map, though, as matches on average go between 3 to 8 minutes long. So it's going to be pretty blistering fast.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be so fast indeed that we have to take a break before we actually go into it, because we need these teams to settle in for what is going to be the quickest game mode of the night here today. So at the end of this halftime break, we'll see if the Shogunate are able to get that clean 3-0 sweep, or if ChatIsThisReal have something up their sleeve to try and bring themselves back into the equation. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss the rest of this matchup. Right now, it is looking like 11:92 in the matchup, as the Shogunate has been taking over this matchup against ChatIsThisReal. What doesn't help is we're going over to Japan next, but nonetheless, ChatIsThisReal need an answer to try and take advantage here in this series. Bowsy once again joined here by Spaffles, and ChatIsThisReal need an answer because the Shogunate are completely running over them, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, running over them they are. We did see a pretty dominant showing from ChatIsThisReal on the first half when they were attacking King's Row, although everything came to a screeching halt as soon as they entered that Omnic factory. They weren't really able to get around that last corner, and Shogunate put a stop to their rule. Though, heading into this next map, we are going to probably see a pretty significant advantage for Shogunate, as so far in this tournament, Shogunate are 4-0 on Clash. They are feeling it. They're loving the new game mode, and they have been pretty freaking effective at it. Looking at their record, it's 4-0 for the Shogunate versus just 2-1 for Chat.
Yeah, definitely has been a much better time for the Shogunate on Hanaoka, which of course we are heading over to our new mode and our new map as part of the Rock Rumble here for our third map of the series. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how these two teams are going to adapt to Hanaoka, and if ChatIsThisReal have anything in the tank left to try and take on the Shogunate and take an advantage in this matchup here. But the Shogunate, you know, they're eyeing that semifinals matchup, and they are currently one map away from solidifying it.
Yep, exactly. Now, for those of you that are a little or not very caught up on what is going on with Hanaoka and the new game mode Clash, we're going to see both teams. They're going to start with their middle spawns, and they're going to be walking over to the C objective. Now, when one team captures C, they're going to push further into the opposing team's territory, kind of similar to how push works. Now, they have to capture 5 points that way, or they can capture the enemy team's spawn in order to completely end the map early. Now, leading us in, we're going to be seeing Worstcast going to be staying on the Junker Queen, and with Lunar on the Genji, actually, going to be a first-time pick so far this series, I believe. Meanwhile, Shogunate, they're going to be running it back with pretty much the exact same comp they've been going with so far, just going strong, feeling comfortable. You love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. It's the Shogunate trying to take this advantage here, and already Crow continuing to live up to the name here on this venture, wreaking havoc across the field here and continuing to find these early advantages for the side of the Shogunate. But Crowbar is removed from the equation. Worst, however, is traded once again as Crow is still taking names and taking every single name that they can in this matchup.
Yup, and there you go. That's going to be the first cap right there for the Shogunate. Just like you saw right there, it's just so blisteringly fast. One fight dictates each point, and now with 20 seconds until objective B unlocks, ChatIsThisReal is going to have the defender's advantage, as they are all already pushed up and pretty significantly forward, so onto the choke point.
Yeah, definitely. ChatIsThisReal don't want the Shogunate touching point B. We'll have to see if they're able to keep that stokehold on this advantage. Moon Bunny's going a little bit too far. Almost gets picked out by Chamorin there before the fight even begins, as the point has unlocked. The Shogunate starting to move forward as ChatIsThisReal forced to retreat just a little bit to try and capture the point for their own. Crow, however, back in the back line and getting rid of Painless before the fight even begins. Worstcast, as a result, will fall to the hands of Shoreline Pie. And now the Shogunate capping point B and thrusting themselves into a temporary, at least for now, match point.
Yep, there you go. ChatIsThisReal, we're looking pretty strong on the choke point, but Shogunate, with their quick wits and Moon Bunny's speed, were able to scoop around and just shovel ChatIsThisReal off of the objective and take it for their own. And that was all done with no ultimates used. So now heading into the spawn, this is notoriously difficult to cap. Kind of similar to 2CP, if any of you folks were playing back in the day when that was a relevant game mode. So now, leading in, this is going to be a significant ultimate advantage, though, as they do have 4 ultimates to ChatIsThisReal's only 3.
We'll have to see if the Shogunate are able to take this advantage for their own. It is difficult considering those spawn points are right there, but you have this tectonic surge and the tectonic shock in the back here for the Shogunate, trying to clean it up. ChatIsThisReal looking for the kills, however, and Lunar has found the kill onto Silvertall. Shoreline Pie is also removed as the Shogunate starting to falter one by one, but Crowbar is still alive on the Orisa, finding the kills necessary, and now Jupiter is gone as well. ChatIsThisReal have to try and keep this stalled out, though. Crow is removed, but so is Painless. It's a back and forth affair, but now Moon Bunny is gone. Crowbar not long for this world either, and it's going to be ChatIsThisReal taking the point A and now thrusting us back into point B.
Yep, there you go. That just highlights how difficult it is to capture that point. Shogunate, even though it was looking like they were winning, ChatIsThisReal just had the respawn timers, had the distance and the proximity on their side, and now especially with Worstcast swapping over the Doomfist to get the retouch in really quickly, that is going to completely solidify their push, and now they're going to be back over to point B.
So now Shoreline Pie with the Shogunate trying to push forward. They already get rid of Worstcast before the fight even begins. Lunar is able to trade them out, but not for their life, as now all the picks continue to glow red in the kill feed. The Shogunate continuing to clean up the remains of ChatIsThisReal and looking like they're going to be claiming point B for their own once again.
Yep, point B captured. You know what that means? We're going back over to point A. We're going to sit outside of the train station, and we're going to be trying to test our luck and see if potentially Shogunate are able to push this advantage over to the end. Now, as a kind of a opposite to the last time, we're going to be seeing no ultimates available for either team, although Lunar and Moon Bunny are the ones to note, as well as Crow, as they're very, very close to having their own built up, and they're going to be looking to, you know, get that last 10% done as the fight is starting to kick off.
So now the Shogunate trying to set up real estate here on this point. ChatIsThisReal set up in the spawn door. Crow trying to dig into the ground, but ends up getting punched out of it, just barely able to stay alive here as they're looking for these final kills. Shoreline Pie gets rid of Chamoran, however, and now the Shogunate looking much better for wear now. With no DPS left here for the side of ChatIsThisReal, they have to try and find some advantage, or at least stall us a point until they return. Tess has the Meteor Strike landing into the backline, but now Jupiter is out of the equation. So now all of a sudden, it's Painless on the heels, and they do not have that sound barrier up. As Worth still tries to keep this contested, the Kitsune Rush comes out from Silvertalls, and the Shogunate are still finding the picks that they need. Painless's beat finally comes out, but it only lands onto them, and Chamoran is out. The Terror Surge from Crowbar trying to clean up the field, but Moon Buddy is removed. Chamoran has his Pulse Bomb in land. It has to try and make the difference here as Crowbar is sitting alone on the point, trying to keep it contested. They'll die to the hands of Painless, as now Crow is there to try and stall out the objective as long as they can, but they'll die to the hands of Chamoran. And now ChatIsThisReal take point A yet again.
Yeah, I mean, Lunar putting in the work absolutely on the venture. I mean, like we've seen time and time again, Lunar just went deep, got pick after pick after pick, and was able to loosen Shogunate's grip on the A objective enough to the point that their team was able to follow up, even though they themselves perished. Now, bringing the fight over to point B, this is going to be a pretty messy one, as both teams are already getting ready. Point unlocks in just 2 more seconds. Things are about to kick off.
Yeah, definitely. ChatIsThisReal, however, are going to initiate the go button here with Jupiter's Kitsune Rush. The Shogunate trying to find these late picks, but they've already lost Shoreline Pie, and Crowbar is dead as well to Chamoran's Pulse Bomb. Crow just trying to get into the underground. They're forced to use their Drill Dash to make it so they retreat to a safe place, but the rest of their team is dead behind them, as are themselves, as now the ChatIsThisReal are sending us back to point C.
Yeah, back to point C. We love point C. Going back into the temple, that marks the 3-3 midpoint. Right now, both teams are on equal grounds. Even though Shogunate, they came out swinging, they came out pounding, ChatIsThisReal are able to push their to rebound and push back, and now they're at equal footing yet again. Now, worst Overwatch player is going to be looking for those big plays on the Doomfist, getting those picks, canceling those Venture's abilities. That is going to be those key fight deciding opportunities and plays that are going to determine what happens here.
Worst is looking for Silvertall from the backline, knowing how important the support is, but Crow coming in with the tectonic shock eliminates 3 before the fight even begins. Their life is sacrificed for it, but it's enough for the Shogunate.
What happened? The tectonic shock, it just cleaved so many members, and it just went crazy. I mean, hey, there are a lot of doubters. I'm a doubter myself. Tectonic shock, I didn't think it was that crazy of ability, but after seeing plays like this and seeing them pretty consistently at that, you know, maybe I have to reconsider some of my takes.
So now the Shogunate at match point definitively. They only need 1 more point on this map to claim victory in this series, and Lunar is already button off the face of the earth here. Worst going for the backline, trying to find advantage, but they are brought down to the hands of Shoreline Pie, as now the Shogunate in perfect position to take this point and take the win in this series. They are all set up in a nice little bow on top of the objective. Crowbar spinning their javelin up in the skies, landing it down onto the ground with no one in sight. Chamoran not long for this world to try and contest, as Lunar comes back in on the Venture, trying to bring it back, but it's still all Shogunate's game, cleaning up every single pick. Lunar shot out of the sky, and the Shogunate will take control of the Japanese map in the Japanese Imperial era, and will take the match 3-0 to go to the semis.
There you go. The Shogunate just absolutely displaying their prowess. They are the rightful defenders of Hanaoka. Talking about a rightful defender, we've got Crow. Dude, Crow, probably MVP of the map. Not only that, but probably the entire series as a whole. Just looking at those plays. Wait, here's the 3K.
Yep, the 3K, just everyone lined up in a row, and Crow just cleans them up in a jiffy as the Shogunate. Now we're moving on to those semifinals in the Rock Rumble. And we mentioned at the start of the show, Spaffles, I think it's safe to say that this team is a threat to win the entire thing. as they've only dropped one map in the entirety of the season still to this day. So if you're going to be facing off against the Shogunate, which if you are SEES, you're going to be fearing for your life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting scared just watching them, right? Shogunate, just with the consistent domination. They looked a little bit scary on the hybrid map, but other than that, after they were able to pull it around and they got themselves back together, we just never looked back since. And that Hanaoka just reassured me even more than ever that Shogunate are here to stay. And looking forward to tomorrow's matches as well, this is going to be a pretty spicy one to look out for.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see these semis finalists happen tomorrow. As we take a look at our bracket right now, you see SEES are moving on to the semifinals after getting a forfeit win over Starlighters here. But it's going to be interesting to see if the Shogunate can keep this streak alive, especially with heavy favorites in this tournament still. Malware getting that win over Easy. Excuse me. That is a tongue-full and a half. They'll be facing off against High Five Ive tomorrow. Meanwhile, Taget's currently facing off against Dukes of Arrakis over on the B stream. We'll be heading over to that after we are done here today. But for the meanwhile, we have an interview here with the members of the Shogunate coming into the VC here very momentarily, so that we'll be able to talk with them about their win here today. We have Fern, we have Crow, and we have Shoreline Pie in the VC here. Congratulations, you three, on the victory here in this matchup.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's get into the matchup here. Obviously, you're going up against ChatIsThisReal, and you head into that first map of the series looking pretty confident overall. But the second map, ChatIsThisReal started finally having some momentum in their favor. What was it like trying to think about what you were going to be able to do once the cart entered the underworld there on King's Row?
Honestly, personally speaking, when it enters third, that's where I come alive on King's Row on that Venture character. The first 2 points are honestly kind of hit or miss, but third point, I don't know. I saw that we were entering that for 5 minutes and was like, ooh, I get to play this for 5 minutes. That's awesome.
Well, that's fair enough. And speaking of that Venture, I definitely could say, Crow, that you're probably one of the best Ventures I have seen in this tournament. How quickly did it take you to adjust to this brand new character and try to learn their ropes before this tournament began?
Instantly. I was in that trial, like, instantly just trying it out, and it was love at first sight, if I'm being real. I just started playing the crap ton of it, and I don't know, I did the same thing more or less with Alari, but now I'm doing it on damage. And I don't know, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear. And I'm also pretty interested in knowing, I know a lot of people have, brought up a lot of similarities between Venture and the old DPS Doomfist. I want to know, were you a Doomfist connoisseur before, or is it sort of like your first time foraying into this sort of DPS character, this DPS role?
I played DPS Doom for the first year of DPS Doom when you could just punch people. And then people started shooting the Doomfist and I gave up on the character. Honestly, the way I like to play Venture kind of reminds me of like my Platinum Genji, where I just kind of like to sit behind them and then try to go in for an insta-kill and get out, but it's actually like sort of more possible on this character.
I see, I see.
No, yeah, I mean, on that third point of King's Row, part of the reason I like it so much is that little high ground. I just sit up there. I got, I think, at least one kill up there in that series with it, but yeah, you can just rat around and it's really fun.
Nice, good to hear, good to hear.
A lot of burst damage. You can just go over and assassinate someone for free.
Yeah, definitely. Venture is a very cool hero. I love to see the comparison people are making to that Overwatch 1 Doomfist, and it's cool to see people who used to play Overwatch 1 DPS Doomfist returning back to their roots here with a character that, while not as overly broken, is still pretty similar in that regard. Nonetheless,
once they learn how to shoot this character, it's over for me too.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thought initially.
It's over.
Once you start landing those hinder grenades, then Venture is
Back to Lucio.
Back to the support role.
Yes,
Nonetheless, with your victory here today, you now lock yourself into the semifinals, and we have heard word that you're going to be facing off against SEES in that semifinals matchup here. Are you guys confident that you'll be able to take the victory in that matchup and move on to the grand finals?
Yeah,
sure.
I would say it can't be that hard, right?
Because we beat them once in the Swiss stage, and then I feel like we can.
Oh yeah, this is old history here. I also took my branding, so this is a petty war.
You know, the salty run back. We like to see it. We like storylines around here, and seeing you guys face up against them again. That's definitely gonna be one to look out for.
They're playing Tracer Sojourn. It's the Rock Rumble, guys.
It's called the Rock Rumble, guys.
Spirit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to beat those unloyal protectionists of the old meta in this sort of case. So we wish you luck in that matchup tomorrow. Any last shout outs you would like to give before we send you on your way to prepare for that semifinals match tomorrow?
I would like to shout out Ewan. He saved me from a burning building. Other than that, no.
All good.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
That's a lore drop.
Shout out the original C's in League 0, but not the C's. They're going down.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if C's is watching the broadcast, you heard it here first from Crow. You have been warned from Crow of the members of the Shogunate. Once again, congratulations, you guys, on your victory here in this matchup, and we hope to see you find success tomorrow in that semifinals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, Spaffles, that is the end of our coverage here today. What an incredible match! What an incredible day of matches we witnessed here in the second day of the BPL Rock Rumble. And there's still more to be had here, as Spaffles unfortunately was accidentally dragged out of the VC by our producers. But getting a look at the schedule tomorrow, we do have some incredible matchups, including that semifinals between SEES and the Shogunate.
Yep, really, really looking forward to tomorrow's matches, and make sure to tune in, especially if you're not going to see any of the other ones. Make sure you tune in again for the Shogunate and C's salty run back. I mean, the history there, that's going to be immaculate, and I bet you there are going to be some pretty spicy results coming out of this match tomorrow.
100%. It'll be interesting to see what teams also are going to be making that semifinals. Of course, High Five Ive and Malware are in the quarterfinals right now. As we take a look quickly at the bracket here, High Five Ive and Malware have yet to play their match. They will be playing their match before the semifinals tomorrow. And then you have Cookiezi and Dukes of Arrakis, who are currently competing against each other in the B stream right now. It's going to be interesting to see who makes that semifinals and who will have the potential to play against either C's or the Shogunate in the grand finals for the Bad Pachamari League Rock Rumble here, Spaffles. But that's going to do it for us here today. What an incredible matchup we were treated to here on this stream here, Spaffles.
Yeah, thank you all for the incredible time, especially all the support in the chat. It has been incredibly heartwarming, and I'm really looking forward to being able to cast for you guys again. Now, we're going to be sending you guys over to watch the B stream. We're going to go over to BPL_2 very shortly, and dude, I don't want to have any horses in this race. I don't want to be, a little too impartial, but Dukes of Arrakis is a pretty nice name, I gotta say. Cookiezi, though, it's a bit unique as well. Looking forward to seeing who makes it out and who's going to be progressing to tomorrow's first match of the night.
Yeah, definitely. We'll bring you over to that stream to see who is moving on to the semifinals in the Rock Rumble. But that's going to do it for all of us here today. For my wonderful co-caster Spaffles, as well as our amazing producer Solomon, and the handful of observers, including Echo 20, January, and Pluto, and Zeusor, who helped make this match entirely possible and brought you all of the cool shots that you saw throughout the entirety of this 3-0 series. My name has been Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you all have an amazing night.